Welcome back to Iowa City. The Cyclones and the Hawkeyes play for the 52nd time. Iowa has won the toss and has elected to receive. A lot of coaches defer, but Kirk Ferentz's not one of those guys, Mark.
He likes getting the ball. Time to get it on, Larry.
It certainly is. Brian Jansen will be doing the kicking off for Iowa State. Tony Yelk, who normally does it, didn't play last week because of a hip flexor. It was a game-time decision. We don't know if we'll see him kicking today or not until the Cyclones get in other situations. But we know that a walk-on from Overland Park, Kansas, Brian Jansen, will be doing the kicking off for the Cyclones.
He's a great story. Kicked one time his junior year and kicked his senior. He played for Nick Lowry, former Chiefs kicker, down in the Kansas area.
Deep for the Hawkeyes are Ed Hinkle and Albert Young, and it is Young who will take it in the end zone and run it out. Big hole over the 30-yard line for Young, and he's tripped up at the 35 and brought down at the 36-yard line. So Albert Young on a nice kickoff return. A flag flies on the opening play of the ball game.
Looked like they might have got a hand in on the face mask as they brought Young to the ground. Be another 15 yards.
Number 21 on the second team, face mask, 15-yard penalty, first down.
John Bible of the Big 12 crew working the ball game gives us the call, a penalty on the first game, and the Hawkeyes, who last week against Kent State began their average drive at the 49-yard line, will begin this one 2 yards better there at the opponent's 49-yard line.
Iowa State last week allowed UNI across the 50 one time, and here Iowa starts on the 49 at Iowa State.
Drew Tate at quarterback, Mickens is his fullback, and Jermel Lewis, suspended last week, is his tailback. Ed Hinkle comes in motion. A running play on first down to Jermel Lewis. And he sheds the first wave of tacklers and picks up a 1st and 10 on his first carry of the season. Middle linebacker Tim Dobbins runs him down. Time now for the FSC starting lineups. And for the Hawkeyes, you see the guys up front, a young unit and still gathering some momentum and trying to gel. In the backfield, we already mentioned Jermel Lewis. He's the guy who's trying to replace Fred Russell, and certainly Jermel Lewis has the opportunity to do just that. He's got the physical skills to do that.
Jermel Lewis had a great run there, just showing some of his physical strength, pulling through a couple tacklers and picking up about 10 yards after the first contact.
Chandler, the wingback on the right side. The single setback is Lewis. Sheds the first tackle and is knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Nick Mosier, the safety, Eric Anderson, the linebacker for Iowa State, make the play. Defensively, this is what it looks like for the Cyclones, and the Iowa coaches have told their offensive talent, be aware of Tyson Smith. Know where he is at all times. He is the big playmaker. He is a difference maker.
He's definitely got a high motor, and he will play hard every single snap here today.
On 2nd and 9, Chandler in motion. Once again, a running play, trying to get to the outside is Lewis, and he does. Lewis to the 28-yard line of Iowa State. Brought down by Ellis Hobbs, the veteran right cornerback for Iowa State.
Lee Gray did a nice job, left tackle for Iowa, getting a nice base block there, and pushing the line of scrimmage back and allowing Jermel Lewis to turn the corner a little bit.
They're the linebacking crew for Iowa State. Dobbins, really a newcomer, has made a big difference in the defense, and we'll talk about that a little more as the afternoon wears on. But he's enabled Tyson Smith to play defensive end spot, enabled Brandon Brown to move to the outside. There is the secondary for Iowa State. Hobbs, a really good and experienced corner who made that last tackle. From the 29 on 3rd down. Tate completes to Lewis. Lewis knocked out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Nick Mosier saves the score for Iowa State.
That's just a nice play by Drew Tate in the pocket. Gets a little bit of pressure, steps up, steps out of a tackle, and finds Jermel Lewis out there in the left flat, wide open. Looks like there might have been a breakdown in the Iowa State secondary. Jermel Lewis is just too wide open out there in the left flat.
Jermel Lewis suspended and not playing last week, so he's going to get lots of action here on this opening series, maybe to make up for it. 1st and goal, Iowa. Mickens lines up at fullback. The handoff once again to Lewis. It has been all Jermel Lewis on this drive, and he gets a yard, bringing up 2nd and goal. Tim Dobbins, the middle linebacker, a transfer from a junior college in Natchez, Mississippi, makes the stop. He's come in and really surprised the Cyclone defensive staff, enabled Tyson Smith to move up front. And as I mentioned a moment ago, Brandon Brown, they like him better at an outside spot, and he can play there because Dobbins has filled the bill.
It's made a huge difference to put Tyson Smith at that right defensive end position where he can really use his speed on the tackles. Makes a big advantage for Iowa State's defense.
2nd and goal, Iowa. Majerus goes in motion to the left. And off, touchdown. The Hawkeyes use a short field. The handoff goes to Albert Young, and Young carries it into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown of the year.
Pretty solid drive for the Hawks. Nothing flashy. A lot of power football, a lot of short passing game, and they were able to move it down to 49 yards for the quick score.
Kyle Schlicker in to attempt the point after. His holder is Iowa's punter, David Bradley. Asmus is the long snapper. The ball is down, the kick is up, and it is good. So taking advantage of a short field, the Hawkeyes score in less than 2 minutes at the opening of the ball game. Iowa draws first blood in this big rivalry between the Hawkeyes and the Cyclones. The Hawkeyes have opened the scoring on a 49-yard drive to lead Iowa State 7-0.
Thing to watch here is watch the line of scrimmage. It looks like Iowa's just getting pretty good solid push up the middle. Able to move the D-line for Iowa State back a couple yards, and that's all they needed for the touchdown.
Jermel Lewis got 48 of the 49 yards on that drive, 25 on the catch, 23 on running, but then it was Albert Young who took it into the end zone to give Iowa the lead. And so Jermel Lewis, the featured back. There's the kickoff by Schlicker. And it's taken by Thais Thompson. Thompson, a newcomer who's got great speed, and he gets quickly to the outside. Finally run out of bounds by Walner Bellis, but not until he gets over the 40-yard line. And as Iowa had outstanding field position on their first possession of the ball game, same story for Iowa State.
In our meeting with Coach Ferentz, this was the one area that he was really discouraged with last week. He felt like their kick coverage, he was going to make some changes in there, and Iowa State did a nice job of forming the wedge up front, and Schlicker and Bellis were able to make the stop.
Now, one thing Iowa State really struggled with last year was a running game, but in Stevie Hicks, they think they've got that solved, and they have shored up their offensive line, something they just had to do, according to Dan McCarney. And it is Hicks to carry on first down, and he's hit by Sean Considine around the ankles and brought down after a gain to the 47. Time now for the FSC starting lineups. Take a look at Iowa State, and again, Stevie Hicks, their featured back, has been over 100 yards in each of his last 2 ball games, the finale last year against Missouri and the opener against Northern Iowa. Up front, that's got to be another difference for Iowa State this year. They've got to be better. They allowed 32 sacks last year, and their coaches feel they are better.
All Iowa guys up on the front line for Iowa State.
Meyer,
love that.
pitch to Hicks. Hicks brought down as he crosses midfield and will come up about a yard short of a 1st and 10. The Iowa defense looks like this. Jonathan Babineau, big game last week, 4 tackles, all tackles for loss. That front 4 did a terrific job against Kent State.
Silent enforcer in there, Jonathan Babineau. Doesn't say much, but he gets that. You got George Lewis, Abdul Hodge, and Chad Greenway. We talked about how good the Iowa linebackers are. They're going to have to play well today.
And a veteran secondary, 3 of the 4 started last year. Only Bob Sanders gone from the starting lineup of a year ago at defensive back. 3rd down and a yard. This time the handoff goes to the designated fullback, Tony Johnson, and he gets stacked up short. And I say designated, he's the 3rd down fullback because he's got great size, was very effective last week in the ball game against UNI when on 3rd down opportunities, he converted 3 out of 5, but that time Iowa's defense answered the charge.
They need to have a new symbol for any fullback that weighs over 260 pounds. It shouldn't be fullback. They need to come up with he's a good football player. He's fun to watch.
6 foot 290. But Jonathan Babineau was equal to the occasion to stop him. The punt formation, and it was the Troy Blankenship to kick. Hinkle was deep man to Blankenship into the end zone. So it would appear, at least at the start of the ball game, that the Cyclones will not have their #1 kicker, Tony Gill, for the 2nd consecutive week. The Hawkeyes scored on their first drive. They held the Cyclones, and now Iowa will have the ball when we come back to Iowa City. Capacity crowd at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. It's the Cyclones and the Hawkeyes. Dan McCarney grew up in Iowa City. Played football at the University of Iowa, was on the Hayden Fry staff for so many years. Now the head coach at Iowa State. Kirk Ferentz, of course, the head coach of Iowa. He and McCarney, and a lot of staff meetings together in the Hayden Fry era, but on opposite sides over the last 6 years. The handoff goes to Jermel Lewis on first down. The Cyclones are not fooled, and Nick Mosier comes in from strong safety to nail him for a loss.
This is exactly what we talked about at the opener. Look for the safeties to get up in the running game, and that's exactly what Iowa State's doing. Iowa had some success running. Look for 8 or 9 guys to come down and get within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage to try to stop the Iowa running game.
Something Iowa did not have to do last week against Kent State was long drives. Only one of their scoring drives was over 52 yards. That was a 66-yard drive. So that's something Iowa State wants them to have to do, drive long, and at least on the second possession, that is exactly where the Cyclones have the Hawkeyes. Lewis is the lone setback on second and long. Tate delivers, and the pass is knocked away. The intended receiver was Clinton Solomon. And let's take a look at our Mediacom keys to the game.
You saw it early. Drew Tate jumped on the back of his offensive lineman, the D lineman at Iowa. Control your emotions. This is a game about emotions, in-state rivalry. See what quarterback can control the tempo of the game, control his poise, keep his emotions under control, and see what, special teams have already played a big factor in returns, about 100 yards in returns already. And then the big one, turnovers. Iowa State thrives on that, as well as the Iowa defense. It's the team that manages those 4 things the best today will win the game.
Tate operates out of the shotgun on third and long, with 1 receiver wide right and 2 wide left. Flushed out of the pocket, Tate will run and will go down just shy of the 30-yard line.
That's exactly what Iowa State did well last week. 3rd and long, 2nd and long. You put an offense in that kind of situation, it's very, very difficult to convert on those 3rd down opportunities.
Janine?
Larry, Nick Leaders, number 66, was Iowa State's outstanding newcomer in 2002, and he's actually ranked 6th nationally among freshman tacklers. ESPN, the magazine, rated him 5th, and it's a family affair. His father, his uncle, and his brother all played for ISU.
The Cyclones have a defensive player down, and so a momentary delay in the action while he is attended to. Iowa State coming in after an impressive victory against Northern Iowa last week when they pitched a 23-0 shutout, and as we mentioned earlier, fewest yards they had given up since October of 1980 when they gave up 96 against Colorado State, yielded just 99 against the Panthers.
And to go back what I was saying there, 3rd and 12, the percentages of accomplishing that and getting a first down just go down dramatically, and Iowa State did that extremely well last week against UNI. If they can do that run pressure and stop Iowa on first down and put them in that situation, Iowa's offense is going to have to come up with some answers.
Iowa getting ready to punt on 4th and 2. David Bradley is in to do the punting, but the injured Cyclone continues to be attended to, and that is the strong safety Nick Mosier, the junior out of Fort Dodge, who played for his dad Sam at Fort Dodge High School. Had a really good opening ball game last week against Northern Iowa when he was in on 3 tackles, 1 a tackle for loss, and broke up the pass, and hopefully just had the wind knocked out of him because he's now up and on his way to the sideline.
That's a good sign. One of the things about these defenses, they get 11 guys to the ball, and it looked like there was just guys hustling to the ball there at the end, and someone just rolled him up a little bit.
Todd Miller back to return the punt for Iowa State. He's returned a bunch of them in his Cyclone career, 536. Makes him 3rd all-time at Iowa State in returning punts. Cody Osmus, the long snapper, and the punt is away. Miller from the 32. He is hit immediately by Chad Greenway.
Wow.
What a stick.
That's an All-American linebacker covering punts, Larry. That's the most impressive thing about Iowa right now is they put their starters on the special teams, and Coach Ferentz demands that out of them.
A 40-yard kick by Bradley, a 7-yard return by Todd Miller.
That's a 40-yard sprint by Chad Greenway, and watch him finish this thing off.
Miller, 5'8", 175, leveled by the 6'4", 240-pound Chad Greenway.
Get the license plate, that truck did it.
Meyer on play action, throws to the right flat, and the pass is too tall for the intended receiver. He was trying to hit his tight end, Brett Kellogg. Kellogg being covered on the play for Iowa by Antoine Allen.
Brett Meyer looked like he actually had him down the middle there. It's a good play, and got the tight end free down the middle, and just threw it a little bit too high for the tight end to go up and get.
And I know you're a huge fan of throwing to the tight end.
That's right, but I like it right between the numbers. You don't want to put those arms up in the air and have to go after those, but good effort all around.
And Kellogg did a good job of getting down the field and beating the Iowa defense. So it's 2nd and 10. Todd Blythe comes in motion to the left. Meyer throws into a crowd and completes it to the 49-yard line. He, that time, really had to thread the needle as he is able to hit John Davis, his flanker, and what an excellent throw. Antoine Allen was there, but that time Davis was well covered, and somehow Meyer got it through him.
This is why I love college football. This game of inches. This ball has to be right in there. 2 Iowa guys closing on it, and it's just a perfect throw and a well-executed play.
And it earns the Cyclones a 1st and 10. Abdul Hodge, you saw coming from his linebacker spot to put pressure on Myers. He got rid of the football on the last play. Meyer throws short. George Lewis out there covering the intended Cyclone receiver, John Davis.
This looks like an incomplete pass, but that's actually a really good football play. The back was covered out in the flat, and the quarterback, Brett Meyer, just does a nice job of just throwing the ball into the ground. You know, 2nd and 10, we can play with that. You just don't want to turn the ball over early in the game.
Meyer, a redshirt freshman from Atlantic, Iowa, 15 of 24 last week against Northern Iowa for 139 yards in his college debut, a touchdown, no interceptions, through a 3-yard touchdown pass to John Davis.
I like him a lot, Larry. He's got a lot of poise in there. Just does a nice job of keeping controlling his game and working the offense of the Cyclones.
As time throws, and the ball is batted away by Javon Johnson. Javon Johnson, just an outstanding defensive play, but maybe not good enough because the flag is thrown and there may have been contact.
Iowa State had success on the other side. They go to the right side on Javon Johnson and just does get there a little bit early over the top of the shoulder of the receiver.
Todd Blythe, the freshman redshirt from Indianola, the intended receiver, but the pass interference call will come up against Javon Johnson.
Todd Blythe, 6'5", he's a little bit taller than Javon Johnson, so that's a long way to go up and get over him.
What great size for a receiver, 6'5", 210. Iowa State really thrilled about him. Janine?
Yeah, you know, Kent State was actually recruiting Jovan Johnson, and when Iowa was looking at another tape of another player, they saw him, and Jovan Johnson had actually given a verbal commitment to Kent State, but he decided to go with Iowa State.
Meyer rolls. Meyer running for the sideline. George Lewis was over there to make sure he wasn't going any further. And there was backside coverage from Derek Robinson. We are at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, the 7th consecutive sellout crowd at Iowa, a school record for a great rivalry, Iowa and Iowa State. Larry Morgan, Marv Cook, Janine Edwards, glad that you've joined us for a game that is always a thrill. And you mentioned the emotions, Marv. You played in it. You know just how pumped up these players are.
You know, trying to get a parking spot this morning, Larry, was almost impossible. I mean, there was just people coming in from all over the state to watch this game. As a player, you just love to play in it, and it's truly one of the great games of the season.
Up goes to Hicks. Hicks is wrapped up at the 32-yard line. First hit by Abdul Hodge. Hodge, who had 15 tackles against the Cyclones a year ago and led the Big Ten in tackles on his first stop of the afternoon.
I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of 52 on Hicks today. I mean, that's the keys for Iowa linebackers, I think. Wherever Stephen Hicks goes, go get him. And Hicks does a nice job of being patient with that run and tucking in there, picking a couple extra yards.
Hicks, the sophomore from Omaha, high school All-American, admitted, he said personally he didn't get ready for Big 12 football enough last year to be effective, even though he was slowed early by very painful turf toe. But he says now he is in great shape. Or Dan McCarney said he's in phenomenal shape. And so far, he's proven it. Meyer tries to run it. Hodge runs into him and knocks him down. Jonathan Babineau also there along with Abdul Hodge. So this brings up 4th down. Hawkeyes really diagnosed that Brett Meyer play well.
Interesting play call here. 32-yard line, be a 49-yard field goal with your starting kicker hurt. It looks like Iowa State might be going to go for it.
Well, and the fact that Tony Yelk is not available again today may be one of the reasons as you see the Hawkeye defense reacting very well to Brett Meyer. So on 4th and 4, the Cyclones will go for it. Hicks the lone setback. Wide to the left side, another wide right. Meyer sees an opening, and he is tackled at the 28-yard line, and he'll be close to that first down. Chad Greenway up to put a hit on him. And we'll see exactly where they spot the football. That may determine whether this is a first down or not. It looks to be awfully close. So close they will actually bring the sticks out, and we will find out.
Not using instant replay this week. That's one of the things that they can do is check and see spots, but that's not available for the Big 10, Big 12 game today.
It's an instant replay, which is a Big Ten one-year experimental rule. Dan McCarney was given the option, as all visitors are in non-conference games. He said, I'm just not comfortable with it yet. Besides, it's a Big Ten advisor who makes the decision. I don't want to do that. And there's a story on the instant replay, not used in last week's Iowa-Kent State game. Really just one game where it made somewhat of an impact, and that was the Wisconsin game. From the 29-yard line, kicks back at the line of scrimmage and nailed. He gets pounded by Hodge and Tyler Lubke. Lubke with the initial contact, the senior from Iowa City West.
Coach Ron Aiken, the D-line coach, has got 4 stout guys up front, and this is going to be a battle of wills today.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Cyclones. We're midway through the first quarter. Miller wide left and Blythe wide, rather Miller wide right, Blythe wide left. Hicks the lone setback. Meyer on the option. The halfback pass by Hicks, and it is incomplete at the 5-yard line. Intended for Todd Blythe. Covered on the play by Sean Considine along with Devon Johnson. And a penalty flag thrown back in the Cyclone backfield.
Roughing the running back, I think is what they're going to call on the option pass.
The call goes against the Hawkeyes.
You know, you got to protect the guy. He's in that throwing motion, and you're exposed, your upper body, your ribs, and everything's exposed, and that's probably a pretty good call.
Kirk Ferentz not happy with the penalty total last week. Hawkeyes penalized 12 times for 136 yards. A lot of those were on the defense.
Those are the things. That's 15 yards, you know, and against this defense, 15 yards is hard to get, but that's the easy way to get it, other than you got to take a couple bruises for it. But, you know, it's well worth it. Iowa State's got a new set of downs.
In the red zone, Miller and Blythe this time both go wide to the left. Ryan Cook is the fullback. Hicks the tailback. Miller the man in motion. Hicks on the pitch. Dances inside the 15-yard line down to about the 12. Abdul Hodge and Derek Robinson make the play. So far, Iowa State taking advantage of 25 yards in penalties on this play. We take it some other Big Ten scores. That's almost as many points as was scored last year when UCLA beat Illinois 6-3. UNLV and Wisconsin. Wisconsin trying to stave off an upset, which they suffered last week. And here's a game we're going to keep a close eye on, because next week Iowa goes to Arizona State. Michigan State trying to shake off the loss to Rutgers at their home opener this afternoon against Central Michigan. Meyer sets up, looks, and the pass is caught by Blythe despite intense coverage at the 8-yard line. Blythe made the grab and immediately was pounced upon and dropped by Marcus Pascal, the strong safety.
I'm smiling up here, Larry, just because that's a 6'5" guy using his body, and that is unstoppable. The defensive back was all over Blythe on that, and you can't get around a guy that's 6'5" and he goes out and catches the ball with his hands like that.
Blythe got 150 passes in his career at Indianola for better than 2,000 yards. And they think he has the potential to be one of the all-time receiving leaders at Iowa State. Now, we're talking about a redshirt freshman, but they think he's got that kind of ability. Meyer to the end zone, and the pass is deflected. The pass is batted away by Derek Robinson.
And that's a good thing, because Pascal had a jump on that. He read that just coming out of the chute and was jumping all over that slant route. And it's probably a good thing that Robinson knocked that ball down for the Cyclones.
Robinson's got some size himself as far as height. 6'5" tall, 287 pounds. A little bit of a disappointment earlier in his Iowa career, but has played well tail end of his junior year, now the start of his senior year. Brian Jansen to attempt the field goal. But first, a penalty marker is down. Now there's time on the play clock, so that's not it.
We'll start 58 on the offense. 5 yards, retry.
Seth Zier guilty of the false start. New rule in college football this year. They announced the number of the player committing the infraction. So Brian Jansen will go back and try it again. He was a walk-on, wanted to go to Kansas State originally. Bill Snyder did not have room for him, so he started looking at Iowa State and some other places, and Dan McCarney says, yeah, I think we can make a spot for you. And they're glad they did with the injury to Yelp. So now it will be a 30-yard effort. Chris Love, the number 3 quarterback at Iowa State, is their holder. Ball's down, the kick is up, and it is not good. So the field goal fails. The Hawkeye faithful roar as Iowa will take over, leading 7-0 at 4:41 in the first period. Well, the Cyclones no doubt missed Tony Yelk, a dependable guy from that range, even though he suffered from longer range. But they don't have him. They missed the field goal, and it will be Iowa football when we return to Kinnick Stadium. Plays 48 yards, 25 of them penalties against the Hawkeyes, gets to a field goal opportunity, unable to convert, and the Hawkeyes take over.
You know, you're disappointed you don't get points anytime you move the ball that far, but the one thing you do is you do change field position, and Coach McCarney with his defense, you know, that's one of the big things he wants to do is make Iowa start on their side of the field, and they're starting on the 20 right now.
Holloway and Solomon are the wideouts. They throw to Solomon's side, and he makes the grab to the 40-yard line. Clinton Solomon hauls it in with defense from DeAndre Jackson.
Wow. Wow. Clinton Solomon made a great play last week. This is just great individual effort using his 6'3" body to go up and get this ball and just pull it away. Great individual effort by Clinton Solomon.
2 passes for 48 yards last week against Kent State.
Young receivers, that's exactly what you got to do. You got to go up and get it at the highest point, and that's what Solomon did right there. Just go get it at the top, and then compete for it.
Hinkle and Holloway on the near side. Solomon split to the far side. Mickens back to block from his fullback spot. Pass complete to the tight end, Scott Chandler. Chandler runs into his own man and now runs into a Cyclone as he gets into Iowa State territory. Coming up to make a hit on him was Steve Paris, the free safety for the Cyclones out of Dallas. Scott Chandler, the brother of former Iowa quarterback Nathan Chandler, caught one ball last week, 6'7", 230, really listed as the 3rd string tight end, but he's been in on virtually every offensive play so far.
He's a nice weapon for him. He's kind of Iowa's version of Slash with Cordell Stewart. He's kind of a receiver slash tight end, and I think Iowa can use him as a very, very effective weapon this season.
He was a wide receiver initially, now playing tight end. Jermel Lewis fails to get a block and will be bowled back as he hit the line of scrimmage. May have lost a yard on the play. Nick Leaders, the 6'2" junior from Omaha Millard West High School, makes the stop.
Those red hats around the ball there. That's great. Just hustling to the ball, Iowa State. 7 or 8 guys up there always playing and getting to the ball.
And again, they give you so many looks on their defensive alignment under John Sladany, their defensive coordinator, that they're going to keep a young offense guessing somewhat.
Exactly. You know, 2nd and 11. This is exactly where they want to put Iowa's offense. And if they can do that on a consistent basis, the only thing you got to worry about is if you got 8, 9 guys up is play action.
That was the key to their success last week. Excellent stops on 1st down, forcing UNI into a lot of 2nd and long situations. Mike Jones stands up too early, and so the 5-yard infraction against the Hawkeyes, who we mentioned were penalized a dozen times last week, and they're mounting up here in the first quarter against Iowa State. So the ball brought back to the 46-yard line where Drew Tate and company face a 2nd and 16. Tate, a 4-year starter in high school at Baytown, Texas. Robert E. Lee High in the Houston area, was the Houston Player of the Year in his senior season. Gets intense pressure, throws, and the pass is intercepted. It was off the hands of Jermel Lewis, and it was intercepted by backup linebacker Matt Robertson for Iowa State. The Cyclones have the first turnover in the ball game. Robertson, a 6'1" sophomore from Sunrise, Florida, takes the deflection off the hands of Lewis.
Iowa State brought 4 weak, forces Tate to scramble out to the right side and just makes an ill-advised throw over the top of Jermel Lewis, and the backup linebacker in there for Iowa State, Matt Robertson, makes a great play, just being reactive, being an athlete, finding the ball, going up and getting it.
And so the first turnover of the ball game gives the Cyclones the ball at the Iowa 46-yard line.
You got to be careful as a defense on sudden changes. You know, you just get off the sideline, watch for Iowa State to make a big play here.
Meyer fires to the flat, complete. Pass hauled in by John Davis at the 30, drives to the 24-yard line for a Cyclone 1st and 10. Let's go downstairs to Janine.
Well, I'm here on the Iowa side of the field with a former Iowa player. This is Norm Granger. He was a 4-year football letterman, a fullback here for Iowa. He's the honorary captain of today's game. Now, in light of the fact that we've got 2 inexperienced quarterbacks that are going to play today, what words of advice would you give them?
Well, what I would give to these new quarterbacks, I happen to have one young quarterback when I played was Chuck Long, and one thing we had to do with Chuck, he had to use his veterans like me to help him make up for the things he didn't know, like how to audible, how to read defenses, and until he learned those things, he's got to really trust in the rest of his veterans on his team to help him, but eventually he'll learn them and he'll take control of the offense.
All right, thanks. Larry?
Thanks, Janine. Iowa State on 1st down, tries to run Hicks. He loses a yard because Matt Roth is up to stop him.
Some good collisions in there, Larry. I'm telling you, we're about way up here in the press box, but there is some good, solid football, fundamental tackles going on right now in blocking.
Yes, we are definitely seeing some hits on 2nd and 11. Meyer hands to Hicks. Hicks flagged down in the backfield and slides forward to the 24-yard line. It was Chad Greenway, the National Defensive Player of the Week with the stop. Talking about Chad Greenway, Kirk Ferentz said, we knew that as an athlete we liked him. When we decided that we wanted him for certain was in the locker room after an Iowa Northwestern game when Greenway was still in high school.
Almost felt like he just felt like he belonged right there. He looked like he had it in his eyes, and he just, was already a part of the team as a senior in high school.
Iowa State looking for their first 3rd down conversion of the day. They've got a 3rd and long. Meyer looks to the right side, and the pass is batted away. Jovan Johnson was there defensively for the Hawkeyes to slap it away from the intended receiver, John Davis. Marcus Pascal also there.
State's doing a nice job of running the deep. Davis just does a nice job pushing up, coming back. Just got to keep coming back to the ball. He keeps coming back. Jovan Johnson's not going to be allowed to get his hand in there and knock that ball out.
So Johnson with a big defensive play, and Iowa State a moment ago misfiring on a 30-yard field goal will now attempt a 41-yard field goal. And again, the regular kicker, Tony Yelp, remains sidelined with injury, so Brian Jansen will attempt it. Love to hold. The ball is down. It is long enough. It is high enough. And this time it is good from 41. And the Cyclones are on the board at 1:11 in the first quarter on a 41-yard field goal by a guy who didn't kick field goals till the final game of his junior year in high school, a walk-on Brian Jansen. So Dan McCarney's team gets on the scoreboard here in the first quarter with 1:11 to play.
They'll get those guys. The one thing Iowa State will not lack today is emotion and intensity, and it all starts with that guy right there, Dan McCarney, in our interview yesterday. Sweating out here on the field, talking to us. Got me motivated. Do some push-ups and sit-ups when I got home last night, Larry.
Yeah, he is a motivator, no question about that. And he really rebuilt this program. His teams have won 26 games since the start of the 2000 season, after Iowa State had won only 27 games in the entire decade of the 90s. So that speaks to the rebuilding job that Dan McCarney had to accomplish.
One of the things as a coach, if you can get your guys to line up right and to play hard, and then you get good quality kids into your program, you're going to have success. And the job that he has done in Ames, Iowa over the last 7, 8, 9 years is truly phenomenal. And I hope Iowa State truly knows how great a coach they have up there in Ames.
His 23rd year as part of the Iowa State series on one sideline or the other. In fact, he remembers the first time these two teams met in the renewal of the series back in '77, and the Cyclones warmed up in their regular jerseys. They came out of the tunnel to start the ball game in their Beat Iowa jerseys. Earl Bruce came in front of the Iowa faithful, waving his fist and getting everybody all pumped up. And you ask Dan McCarney what's his number one memory of 23 years in this series, that's what he'll talk about.
And 2 years ago was a close second, I think. It might have been a tie or a 1A time for him when they came down here to Iowa City 2 years ago and actually pulled out a great second half victory.
He definitely said it was a strong number 2. Jansen kicking to Young. Albert Young, who has one good kickoff return, has another as well across the 30 and out to the 33-yard line. He's ridden down by Caleb Berg for Iowa State, along with Henry Pollard.
Turnovers and special teams. Iowa throws a pick, and Iowa State gets 3 points out of it. Iowa's offense has got to reestablish themselves right here in this drive.
That time the Cyclones going 54 yards, or excuse me, 5 plays, 22 yards to nail the field goal. Elgin snaps it back to Tate, who puts it in the belly of Lewis. Hobbs comes up to greet Lewis at the 35. Iowa State defense last year gave up a lot of yards. You take a look at the Iowa State scoring drive, as we mentioned a moment ago, and there it is to get the Cyclones on the board. But last year, this is a defense that gave up a lot of yards. They averaged giving up over 440 yards a game. However, it's often due to the fact the offense just put them on the field way too much because Iowa State didn't have a running game. So this is a better defense than their numbers and some of their points given up last year would indicate.
It's a great point. You give a good offense 9 or 10 or 12 possessions against your defense, eventually they're going to figure out what you're doing to them, and they're going to make the adjustments and move the ball effectively on you.
And of course, they're playing with great pride, having given up 1 touchdown so far this year. The play clock rolls down, and so Drew Tate has to use a timeout, and he has to do with 13 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Probably not a timeout the Hawkeyes wanted to expend.
This is one of the things that Coach O'Keefe talked to us about the young quarterbacks struggle with is the run checks. And Iowa State showing a lot of safeties coming down, a lot of corner pressure. And it looked to me like Tate was trying to make an adjustment there and just ran out of time on the play clock.
Speaking of adjustments, Jermel Lewis on the opening series ran through the Cyclone defense. However, on his subsequent 6 carries, he has but 5 yards.
Those are called coach's adjustments. And Coach McCartney, the one thing he won't let you do is line up and just beat him with the same thing over and over again. He's going to make the adjustments that he's got to make. Perfect example right there. We're seeing a lot of safeties coming down. The turnover last drive, the safety blitz forced Tate to pressure out and make an ill-advised pass. But, Iowa's going to have to make some adjustments here. And, the one thing I think Iowa's going to have to do is try to do some play action and soften that secondary. Try to get that 8th, 9th guy back in the secondary and force them to cover the Iowa receivers.
Iowa State missing their 2 top tacklers from last year in Jermaine Billups and Jason Berryman. Berryman, of course, got into legal problems and has been suspended for the season. So they're missing their 2 top tacklers. But nevertheless, this is a defense. It's got a real good core. Tyson Smith is a guy who obviously everybody on offense has to pay attention to. The linebacking core is solid. The secondary is getting better. They're going to be pretty good. Here's Ed Hinkle in motion on the final play of the first period. Tate with backside pressure from Hobbs, throws incomplete, looking for Ed Hinkle. Hobbs was really coming after Tate hard. Steve Paris covering on the play as Ed Hinkle tries to stretch out and grab the ball.
Watch Hobbs just coming off the right side here. He's basically unblocked. It's a good thing that Tate's sprinting out left, but those are the kind of hits you don't want your quarterback taking over the course of the day.
And you'll see that from Iowa State. They'll bring people from all different directions, won't they, Marv?
They do. That's how they like to stop the run, is bringing corners and bringing safeties and kind of use it as a run blitz. And they got Iowa here in the 3rd and 8.
Chandler's the tight end. On 3rd and 8 with 8 seconds to go in the first period. Tate to the left flat. And the pass is grabbed by Calvin Davis. Shoved out of bounds by DeAndre Jackson. Calvin Davis, the sophomore from Iowa City High School, the outstanding track performer, helps the Hawkeyes pick up a first down and bring the first quarter clock down to 2 seconds.
This is a chess match right here. They rushed just 4 or 5 that time, and the offensive line was able to pick it up, allow Tate to step up and hit Calvin Davis on the deep 14, 15-yard comeback around the left side.
And what defensive coordinators truly hate are giving up yardage on 3rd and long.
That's right, and that's the game. Do you rush 5 and cover with 6, or do you bring 7 and cover with 4?
Followed in at a wingback spot on the left side is Jermel Lewis. Finds a hole inside the 45-yard line and brought down at the 44. Stopped on the play by Nick Mosier, the safety, who was shaken up a little earlier, but he's back in now, and now the first quarter has come to an end. Well, it's been a defensive struggle so far, but no surprise. These teams ranked 1 and 2 on defense in the country after last week. It is 7-3 Iowa at the first quarter break. Welcome back to Iowa City. Top 2 defenses in the country. A defensive first quarter, a 7-3 Iowa lead. And Marv, the first quarter lead has proven to be very valuable in this series.
You got to get up and stay up, and obviously that's good news so far for the University of Iowa.
In fact, the team that has led after the first quarter has won 12 of the last 14 games in this series. Tate delivers to Chandler. Chandler shoved by Hobbs, and is out of bounds at the 27-yard line for an Iowa first down. Steve Paris, along with Ellis Hobbs, on the stop.
Just quick 3-step drop, get the ball out, and let Chandler do what he does. He just does a nice job of catching with his hands, turning upfield. Watch the stiff arm. This is old school right there.
Yes, it is. And a South Lake, Texas, at 6'7", 230 pounds. Wanted to play wide receiver when he came here, but really is filling that tight end slot very well. So first down from the Cyclone 28 as Chandler goes in motion. Running play to Young. Young wrapped up at the 25 by Tim Dobbins.
Wow. This is called getting to the football. Tim Dobbins, they're really high on this guy in the middle coming in, and it's allowed their defense to really free up Tyson Smith and allow him to play to his strengths. And this guy likes to get in there and get after it.
John Skladany, the defensive coordinator from Iowa State, loving the fact that Dobbins has stepped in and a bit of an unknown quantity, not highly recruited out of high school, but and out of college, junior college for that matter as well. But he's really stepped in and been a very pleasant surprise for the Cyclones defense. Tate Bark signals on second down and hands to Young. Nothing going right, so he tries to come back left, and it turns out there's nothing going there either. Tim Dobbins has been such a factor early in the ball game for Iowa State, and Janine, he's really a hitter, isn't he?
Oh, he certainly is. They're very high on this guy, and you know, he's very, very soft-spoken off the field, but maybe that has something to do with the fact that he is married with 2 children, and maybe he's learning at home, you know, to stay quiet. I don't know, but on the field, he certainly makes a lot of noise.
Can you imagine that, Marv, being a football player, a full-time student, and a father of 2? What kind of energy would you have to talk at that point?
You know, the middle linebacker, you got bruises all over, and you got kids jumping on you. That'd be a tough one tonight. That'd be a great way to go home, man.
Tate DeMickens, the fullback, and he is met immediately by LaMarcus Hicks, another of the junior college transfers in the Iowa State defense, and they are so high on LaMarcus Hicks.
Great job by Hicks coming up and just putting the pads on Mickens coming out in the flat. This is a lot of cornerbacks don't want to make that play right there against a short, stout fullback. And Hicks has no problems coming up and putting his helmet in there.
So the Hawkeyes now will attempt a field goal. Kyle Schlicker will kick a 34-yard attempt, or make it a 44-yard attempt out of the David Bradley hole. Schlicker has it blocked. So special teams so important in this series, and that time Iowa State comes up with a big, big block.
That ball never had a chance, Larry. He didn't get it up. Looks like he just tried to drive the ball a little bit, or actually just didn't get the elevation on it, and just see where this ball comes off the foot and how high it gets. It never really gets too high. Looks like Nick Leader's in there. He was able to get that big right paw up and knock it down.
And of course, Schlicker taking over for Nate Keating, a former Lou Groza Award winner. And the Iowa coaches are quick to point out to everybody that in the beginning, Nate Keating, as a first-year kicker, was not Mr. Dependable as well. Schlicker in a learning process. Iowa State has gone to Austin Flynn at quarterback, as they had planned to do. This is part of the Dan McCarney game plan. He uses both quarterbacks. Thais Thompson gets the call. Thompson, a youngster, a true freshman out of Lakeland, Florida, where he was a 2-time All-Stater. Flynn, of course, a sophomore from Deer Park, Texas, where he started 7 games at Iowa State last year. No gain for Thompson, bringing up a 2nd and 10. 2 wide receivers set right of Austin Flynn. Flynn with the handoff to Thompson. Thompson, daylight into the Iowa secondary and drives ahead to the 44 and has a 1st and 10 for the Cyclones. Marcus Pascal comes in to make the play. It is Iowa and Iowa State, the big rivalry, this time meeting number 52 in the series. And it has been a story of defense thus far. Iowa scoring in their first possession.
Yeah, Iowa State gets great field position off the turnover and is able to capitalize on the 40-yard field goal.
An interception, the only turnover thus far in the ball game. First down for the Cyclones at their own 44. Avenel right on the nose of the center. Flynn to the left flat, has a man open, and the pass is dropped. Caught by Brett Kellogg, the tight end, momentarily, but he could not latch onto it.
That's a great play call by Iowa State. Play action. Actually had a couple guys open and just fake the option down the line of scrimmage. Flynn does a nice job of going back. Brett Kellogg, the tight end out of Cedar Rapids Kennedy up there just north of here, Iowa City, has got to try to make that play.
Greenway and Allen over there covering for the Hawkeyes. Dan McCarney 5-4 against his alma mater in this series. Of course, the Cyclones reeled off 5 straight victories in the series until Iowa's win in Ames last year. Thompson looking for daylight, gets away from Greenway but doesn't go too far before he gets to the 47-yard line, and Tyler Lubke is there along with Sean Considine. Lubke, an interesting story because when he went to high school he thought he would be only a swimmer and not play football.
I think he wore those tights that Michael Phelps wore in the Olympics when he was...
I don't even want to think of I know he couldn't fit into them now. Let's go downstairs to Janine and talk about the Iowa State quarterback.
Well, Larry, you guys were mentioning that Coach McCarney wants to play both of the quarterbacks, Austin Flynn and Brett Meyer. When we actually coach for Rents, how he sees these two guys match up, he says they are very equally matched, can't separate them.
Flynn over the middle, and the pass is incomplete. John Davis was the intended receiver, covered by Marcus Pascal.
Great decision by Austin Flynn just to throw that ball away. Iowa actually had great coverage on the 3 or 4 receivers that were out. Smart decision. That's the guy that played Texas, Oklahoma last year. Austin Flynn's got a lot of quality snaps under his belt, and he showed it right there by making a good decision of throwing the ball away.
And the Cyclones now 0 out of 5 on their 3rd down conversions. Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator, still in the hospital, and watching this game on television, he'll like a stat like that. Blankenship on the kick. Hinkle with a fair catch. So the Hawkeyes will take over at the 13-yard line with 10:36 left to play in the first half of the big rivalry game between the Clones and the Hawks. And it's Iowa with a 4-point lead. Force to root on Iowa linebacker Chad Greenway. It's been a defensive ball game thus far, with Iowa leading Iowa State 7-3, and the Hawkeyes taking over at their own 13-yard line. Following the punt of 40 yards by Lance Blankenship. Jermel Lewis gets the call on 1st and 10 and barely gets to the line of scrimmage. Iowa State is really flying on defense, Mark.
See the safeties coming down. The safeties are probably the leading tacklers right now. And anytime a defense wants to pressure you with the secondary, the corners and the safeties, you've got to put it back on them. You've got to attack them back. And I want to see Iowa start taking some shots down the field, stretch this defense a little bit, soften those safeties up. And then what that does is it opens up those running lanes inside.
You see the total yards last year. The Cyclones had a decided edge in the total yardage situation, but special teams made the difference, and the Hawkeyes won the game. On 2nd down, Tate steps up, throws underneath to Ed Hinkle, and Hinkle makes the grab and is down to the 29-yard line. Stopped there by linebacker Matt Robertson. Robertson earlier had the interception. There's Ed Hinkle, who, if he's healthy, makes such a big difference to the Hawkeyes, and last year, of course, he wasn't.
Yeah, he's their X receiver. He's usually out there spread by himself on the weak side of the formation, and if you can get your X in one-on-one situations and he can win those, that helps your offense immensely.
From the 24 on 1st down, it is Jermel Lewis once again trying to go behind the right tackle. And he gets about 3 on the play. Steve Paris up from the safety. Ellis Hobbs up from the cornerback to make the play.
You see that screen right there, Larry? I mean, that was 5 or 6 Iowa State Cyclones playing that team defense, and you just got to, Iowa's got to put a hat on a hat, lock your guys up, play to the whistle, and Iowa State's just doing a great job right now hustling and getting to the ball.
Jermel Lewis, great success on the opening series, picked up the 1st down a moment ago, and of course the Hawkeyes, who did not have him last week, glad to have him back. Last year he missed the first 7 ball games of the year while recovering from knee surgery. He came back, played behind Freddie Russell. Well, now he's a senior. This, he feels, will be his year. Lewis once again, and Lewis dragged down at the 29-yard line. Cyclones are proving difficult to run against for the Hawkeyes. Stop made by Jamar Buchanan. Buchanan out of Dalton, Illinois, 6'1", 230-pound linebacker. Got to play in 10 games last year. Made 37 tackles, so a pretty good guy off the bench for Iowa State as they tried to develop some depth in that linebacking core. As a group, Dan McCarney says the best linebackers he's had at Iowa State.
Real athletic-looking guys. Even Tyson Smith out, the end position is a little bit undersized for his position. These linebackers are probably a little bit light by typical linebacker stance, but that means they can run and get to the ball.
On 3rd and long, Tate goes shotgun. Pressured in the backfield by Tyson Smith, and finally run down by Tyson Smith. Smith slowed him down, and then Smith caught up with him. However, it looks like Tate has enough for a first down. And Tyson Smith, he didn't give up after the first hit, did he?
He will give you everything he's got all day, every day. This is basically just all Drew Tate. And, one of the things we'll keep talking about, we talked about last week, force it with your legs. He's a good enough athlete. He's able to miss Tyson Smith the first time, but not the second time. And but he got enough for the first down.
Smith making a courageous comeback after a very badly broken leg last year, suffered in the opener against Northern Iowa. Tate on play action. Completes to the near side to Lewis. Lewis into Iowa State territory, rolled out at the 44-yard line by LaMarcus Hicks. So Jermel Lewis on the ground, and Jermel Lewis as a receiver has been tough for the Cyclones to contain.
I didn't exactly see what happened, but, it's one of those things when the safeties and the corners are coming in to help stop the run. There's supposed to be a defensive back out here somewhere, and Jermel Lewis is able to take advantage of it, pick up big yardage for Iowa.
His second catch for 43 yards. He caught a big pass on the touchdown drive, of which the Hawkeyes opened the ball game. So now Iowa have moved the sticks one more time, and they have a first down at the Cyclone 46-yard line. Holloway flanked on the left side, Hinkle on the right side. Albert Young gets the call, and Young to the 41-yard line. Snap down there by Sean Moorhead. Let's take a look at some of the other scores from other Big Ten games. UCLA playing at Champaign this afternoon and leading the Illini in that ball game. Wisconsin trying to avenge an upset by UNLV last year. Arizona State, Iowa's next opponent, in a tight battle with Northwestern. People think that will be a high-scoring game. Michigan State looking for their first win with the lead over Central Michigan.
Kansas State with Bill Snyder down early, 17-14 to Fresno State. And Auburn up 14-0 against Mississippi State.
On second down at the 41. Tate throws to Hinkle, and he is bumped down immediately. Hit by DeAndre Jackson after a gain of maybe 2.
These corners for Iowa State like to hit.
They do, don't they?
Kind of a rare thing to find in cornerbacks.
Some defense the Cyclones are playing, huh, Janine?
For sure. Coach McCarney said he was very much impressed with their performance last week. And Iowa coach Kirk Ferentz, I think, was a little surprised. They had 4 sacks and allowed just 99 yards last week, and we're seeing that toughness again today.
Tate has completed 6 consecutive passes. At the 34-yard line, the diving effort is made by Clinton Solomon, and it's ruled complete, although the officials look like they're going to talk about it.
Warren Holloway, I think it was.
Yeah, you're right. Warren Holloway.
This is just a great catch by Warren Holloway. He throws the ball back inside, and Holloway's just able to adjust to it, go over there and make the play.
Holloway's first catch of the year did not make a catch last week, although 10 different Iowa receivers did.
They reversed it, yep.
Well, the first official had said complete, but it appeared it might be a trap, and the other officials confer, and that's what they've decided. So the Hawkeyes now face 4th down.
I think that was a good call, actually. Who needs instant replay, Larry? You got these officials. These officials know what they're doing.
Big 12 crew working the game. That happens when the games are in Iowa City, when the games are in Ames. The Big 10 crew officiates this rivalry game. Miller back to receive the David Bradley punt. It's been a game of defense and field position so far. Iowa's deep snapper is Cody Osmus. He's from Cedar Falls, 6'4" senior, been around a while and now really getting the opportunity for the first time. So the officials still want to make sure that they have everything straight. Again, the Big Ten experimental instant replay not in effect today because in non-conference games The visitor has an option, and Dan McCarney said he just wasn't comfortable with it and didn't want to use this game to experiment. He says, a game of this magnitude, I don't want to work with an experiment, so will not be used today.
Perfect example there. The Big 12 guys got it right, and they conferred over it and then discussed it. They might just be talking about the game clock right now as far as making sure that's right.
Yeah, they're just checking the spot of the ball right now because this is definitely not a situation where replay is used. Well, they were on the same staff for quite a while. Now they're on opposite sidelines. Kirk Ferentz, Dan McCarney both have a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, mutual. You know, I think it all starts with Coach Fry at the head of that, and the influences he's had in both their lives, and just to see the success that each one has taken out into their own careers is an amazing tribute to Coach Fry, but also to these guys to take when they get their opportunity to go with it and run with it. And and like I said, I think the job Coach Ferentz has done here in the last 4 or 5 years, and where this program is, and the job that Coach McCarney's done up in Ames, truly is some of the greatest coaching that I've seen in the last 10, 15 years of college football.
So we're getting the ball marked ready for play, and now play will resume. As Bradley receives the snap for the punt. Miller about to return his second punt of the ball game. Cyclones attempt to set for return for Miller, but this ball will be over his head, and it takes an Iowa bounce, and the Hawkeyes will take over on defense, and Iowa State will be pinned against the goal line. They'll start at their own 5-yard line with 5:56 to go in the first half of a defensive battle in Iowa City. Trophy, Iowa and Iowa State. Great renewal of the rivalry. Brett Meyer comes back into quarterback the Cyclones. So far, defense has been the story, Mark.
Field position, too. I think, after the first couple series, when they got it on good field position, they started here. Both offenses have started basically on their side of the ball and deep.
Hicks nothing on first down. Abdul Hodge on the stop.
Stevie Hicks has got a little shake to him, doesn't he?
He does.
He's a very shifty guy back there, and when he does pound it in there, he does it with a lot of power. I like this guy as a runner.
He was a top rusher last year, though. Again, he had a painful turf toe that really hurt him. The early half of the season came on late, rushed for 123 yards against Missouri in the finale last year, 111 against UNI, so he's trying for his third consecutive 100-yard rushing game. Again, it is Hicks trying to get out of difficulty, and he gets maybe a yard on the play. Not much more. Tyler Lukey is right there to stop him, and Abdul Hodge to help finish him off.
Front four trying to control the line of scrimmage. This is a great stalemate right here. Just both offensive line and defensive line really working hard in there, and it's kind of been neutralized right now. There's really no one getting more of an edge than on offense or defense.
Janine? So the Hawkeyes lose one of their kick returners and the number 2 tailback. Stevie Hicks gets nothing. Matt Roth is there to bulldog him down.
And that hurts. I'm telling you, as a running back in Big 10, Big 12, you hit every single snap. Not that time, Stevie Hicks just didn't get hit once. He got hit by about 3 guys.
So now Troy Blankenship will be forced to kick from his own end zone. I'll make this Tony Yelk. Yelk, who did not make it, no, it will be Blankenship, excuse me. Blankenship awaits the snap and is able to tumble it out. Hinkle for the return. Tyson Smith misses. Hinkle plows forward to the 35-yard line before he is run down to end the play. So the Hawkeyes will take over with good field position following a 42-yard kick from the end zone by Blankenship when we return to Iowa City. After last week, Iowa number 2. Each team has been able to score only once. So those numbers have stood up so far. After the 15-yard return by Hinkle, Iowa with good field position. And they will run Jermel Lewis on first down to the 32-yard line. Brett Curvey makes the stop. By the way, we had not yet mentioned Matt Malloy will not play for the Hawkeyes today. Caught a couple of touchdown balls last week against Kent State. Sprained a knee in practice. He is not in the lineup today for Iowa. And for the Cyclones, we haven't seen Cephas Johnson. Sean Moorhead has played that defensive end spot so far, and we would speculate that perhaps Johnson is on the injury list as well.
Iowa's got a definite advantage in the passing game so far, but both defenses have actually given a good account of themselves so far early in this game.
Lewis the lone setback. Chandler comes in motion. Tate to Chandler. Chandler ridden down inside the 30-yard line by Brandon Brown, the senior linebacker. Kirk Ferentz was saying yesterday, seems like he started for about 5 years. Just a good veteran in the Iowa State linebacking corps.
Good, solid, open field tackle. You get Chandler out there 6'7". Big frame body. You just got to wrap him up and bring him down, and they were able to do that.
Chandler's third catch of the day is a good look at Brandon Brown out of Houston, Westfield High. Top tackler last week against Northern Iowa when he made 8 stops. Clinton Solomon will go wide to the right side, and Ed Hinkle wide left. Lewis next to Tate out of the shotgun. Mike Elgin is Iowa's center. Tate to the end zone. Hinkle, great grab.
Wow.
Touchdown, Iowa. You don't see him much better than that, Marv Cook.
I'm speechless. I mean, that's Drew Tate's just dropping that ball in the bucket. That's just a timing throw. You're throwing it to the back, and Iowa fans remember Hinkle doing that on the right side of the field against Penn State a few years back. That was just the exact opposite on the left side.
Schlicker on to attempt the point after. And the kick is good. So with 2:49 left in the first half, the Hawkeyes score for the second time and build the lead on arch rival Iowa State to 14-3.
Release, he's able to just get over the top, and then here's the thing that Tate does. He just drops it in the bucket. Look at the touch on this ball coming up over the top, throwing it out there where only Ed Hinkle can go get it, and that's just a great effort by Ed Hinkle.
LaMarcus Hicks trying to defend for the Cyclones. Schlicker's kickoff. Taken 3 yards deep. And returned across the 30-yard line and still going for Iowa State. On the return is Ellis Hobbs. Hobbs just stepped up, caught that, and just saw an opening and darted right through it. Ellis Hobbs with a very nice kickoff return.
He took it 5 yards deep, too, Larry. Most coaches will tell you to keep it in there. They must have pretty good confidence in their kick return team.
You better take it out more than 20 if you field it there and run, huh?
He's back there on the W, and he just decides to bring it out. It's great, just great blocking up front with a wedge and breaks a couple tackles. Schlicker sticks his head in there, is able to slow him down a little bit, and here comes the cavalry.
Cyclones all 3 of their timeouts remaining with 2:42 left to play in the half. Meyer to the left flat, caught at the 46-yard line by John Davis, and he's stopped by Antoine Allen.
Nothing fancy, just running the 14-yard curl route, and Iowa's corners got to either come up a little bit tighter or try to shoot the underneath backers underneath that and cover that curl route up.
Antoine Allen, the junior out of Tampa, a couple of pass interceptions last year for the Hawkeyes. Cook and Hicks in the backfield as Meyer scrambles and then is brought down at the 37-yard line. The initial contact was made by Javon Johnson, and then Jonathan Babineau finished him off. Well, coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at other scores from around the country. We'll meet with Hawkeye Athletic Director Bob Bowlesby about a big announcement that the University of Iowa made yesterday, and of course we'll have some first half highlights.
Matt Roth actually beat the right tackle there and got inside. Looked like they might have tried to grab him, but no flag was thrown, and play another down.
Meyer gets 7 on the gain, so it's 2nd and 3. To the left flat, threads the needle to the tight end, Kellogg, and he's brought down at the 27-yard line of the Hawkeyes for a Cyclone 1st and 10. Marcus Pascal on the stop.
That's where I made my living right there, Larry. Just
yes,
a that's called a 6-yard stick route. Run up 6 yards, turn to the left, and the quarterback pounds it on you. Hard to defend that play right there.
Meyer out of the shotgun. Jonathan Babineau sacks him. Babineau came through. I'm not sure he was ever touched, maybe bumped, but not a whole lot more than that. And when he comes with that head of steam, you're not going to stop him. Janine, that Jonathan Babineau made a great play.
Oh, he certainly did, and this is a guy that's coming back from 2 separate fractured legs. He broke one in 01 and he broke another one in 03. He was so determined in rehab that he has come back stronger than ever. He's squatting 600 pounds and ran a 4.7 40-yard dash. He said out of a negative came a positive.
Indeed it has, and he has made big plays today and made big plays last week.
You know, the one thing about the defensive front at Iowa, I mean, Babineau's played outside, he's played inside. They feel very comfortable with all 4 of those guys. And the one thing that I really see is they really do a great job with their hands. They're always attacking with their hands. They're grabbing, pulling, swimming, you know, pushing, and they're just relentless as far as using their hands, getting off blocks, and getting to the quarterback. You know, I would just rush 4 there. And if you can get pressure with just 4 guys, it allows your 7, your backers and your safeties and corners to go back and play a prevent, and it's hard for the quarterback to find anybody to get open. That's what Iowa needs to do right now to stop this passing game, is get pressure with 4.
Let's take another look at it.
Pretty good pocket initially, but just Babineau just keeps coming on the inside and presses it up. And, you know, just a big, strong guy is able to wrap up Meyer and get him down.
We mentioned Iowa defensive coordinator Norm Parker, not with us again today, was unable to be here last week, is in the hospital, but recovering and doing well from complications of diabetes and subsequent surgery. But we know he's watching, and last time at halftime he called and talked to his defense on the phone. Imagine he's got his dialing finger ready again, don't you think?
That's right, always coaching. And we talked about how blessed we are to be so close to this university hospital, and the doctors and the administrative people we have over there. It's truly a blessing in the city of Iowa City.
I don't know if he's watching on TV or just peeking out one of the windows.
I definitely know he can hear it, whether the windows are open or closed.
The important thing is he's well on the road to recovery. To the left flat, and it is caught at the 30-yard line. Pass hauled in by Terrence Highsmith, the junior college transfer out of Fort Scott, Kansas Community College, who came to Iowa State not knowing if he'd be a quarterback or a wide receiver. He had been a quarterback since Pop Warner days, but so far has done a good job as a wideout. Iowa State struggled today in not completing a 3rd down conversion.
Brett Meyer answered one of my questions. He has settled in. He actually threw that ball on a rope and threw it to the outside shoulder receiver. That was a great throw right there by Brett Meyer.
Here's a huge call for the Cyclones on 3rd and 12 as they try for their first 3rd down conversion of the afternoon. Meyer completes, and the ball's taken away. It's stripped on the play. The intended receiver nearly hauled it in, John Davis, but the ball was wrestled out of his hands by Marcus Pascal.
Just great football, great throw, had the chance to make the catch, but just competing there at the end. Pascal's able to throw his hands in there and just basically hand fight, keep fighting, keep competing until the ball, and then the ball's able to get it out of there.
So Pascal comes up with a huge play on 3rd and long, forcing Iowa State to attempt a field goal. 46-yard effort for the walk-on freshman, Brian Jansen. Again, Tony Yelk has been kicking in practice, but it's a game day decision, and what Dan McCarney doesn't want to see him do is re-injure himself with so much of the season to go. And now a timeout will be taken by Iowa to freeze the young kicker.
It's a good, solid drive by Iowa State. They're taking advantage of the field position off the kick return, able to move it down, have a chance to get some points here with 1 minute to go in the half.
14-3 the count. That last defensive play for Iowa, just a huge play by Pascal.
Got a chance. He just keeps fighting there at the end. And Javon Johnson looks like the corner came in and helped out a little bit as well. So,
yeah, I think it was more of Javon Johnson probably doing it than Pascal. So with a minute 12 left to play in the 2nd quarter.
Was it Javon Johnson's the flashy dresser?
Yes.
For Iowa?
They said it last week, and it wouldn't have been appropriate for the Cyclone game, but last week he came to the stadium in an all-red attire.
It's going to be a Javon Johnson watch, you know, every morning about 9:30 when they're coming to the stadium.
Jansen missed his first attempt from 30 yards, hit his next one from 41, so this will be his 3rd attempt of the afternoon. 37-yard field goal last week against UNI, the first time he kicked in a college game. And again, he's a true freshman.
It's a great view of college football on the wider hashes than pros. I mean, this is, you know, he's got a little bit of an angle here. He's got to try to move it over to the right side and put it through the post.
Chris Love will hold. From 46, Jansen gets his leg into it, but leaves it way short. And so the Hawkeyes will take over with 1 timeout and 1 minute and 8 remaining in the first half to try to add to their 14-3 margin.
see how much confidence Coach Ferentz has got his young quarterback with a minute to go to see if they try to move it down and get some points here before the half, or they're just to be content with running the clock out here.
Well, again, the team that has led at the half of this series has won 13 of the last 14 times, but neither coach, Kirk Ferentz nor Dan McCarney, will ever forget the one exception to that. 2 years ago, when Iowa led 24-7 at the half and lost to the Cyclones. Play action fake to Lewis, and Tate, perhaps being conservative, is sacked by Tyson Smith.
Answered my question about how conservative he'd be coming out here. Good timeout by Iowa State here. Try to force Iowa to punt here right before the half. Try to get good field position again.
And this will leave the Cyclones with one more timeout. So what has surprised you so far about today?
You know, I guess it kind of is played out kind of the way we talked about. I mean, two solid, great defenses, and I think the offenses have actually managed themselves so far pretty well. It's been a game of field position.
I think this bears out that the numbers last week on defense were not flukes, that both teams really have. We knew that Iowa coming in with a veteran defense was going to be good, but Dan McCarney's defense obviously vastly improved over a year ago.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, the one thing that you will get out of Dan McCarney is, you know, he will make the adjustments. He will keep his guys motivated and fired up. And there's a good shot at Ken O'Keefe, the offensive coordinator of Iowa. This is always going to be a high-intensity game with Dan McCarney. You know, you're going to play 11 games. You're going to get 60 minutes out of your players every 11 weeks. And that is the one thing you will never not get out of his team, is a well-coached, well-disciplined, and a team that'll get after you every snap.
And we were talking about the Iowa defense. Now, through 6 quarters, short of that by 53 seconds, they have not yielded a touchdown. The only touchdown last week by Kent State was on a pass interception.
Been very solid, and in fact, the kickoffs, Iowa State's had a couple good kickoffs where they started near the 50, and Iowa's been able to shut them down to a couple field goal attempts. And you know, other than 2 missed field goals, one by Iowa, one by Iowa State, or actually 2 by Iowa State, it's been a pretty clean game.
Hawkeyes with a double tight end set here, Tony Jackson and Ryan Majerus. They have played 4 different tight ends in the ball game. They feel they're pretty well stocked at that position. Lewis trying to get to the outside, but contained well by the Cyclones. Paris comes up from the secondary to hit him. Also on the play, DeAndre Jackson. And the Cyclones will use their final timeout with 46 seconds left to play in the first half. So Iowa does have a timeout left, not interested in using it, and the Cyclones can no longer stop the clock. But Iowa State forcing Iowa into 3rd and long, and they hope to get one more chance at the football.
It's great coaching, actually. I mean, you know, you never know when you're going to get an opportunity to get points, and if Iowa mishits the punt here, Iowa State gets good field position. You never know; they got a chance to kick a field goal here right before the half and close it 3 more points.
Kirk Ferentz on the sideline for the Hawkeyes, and down on the sideline for our crew is Janine Edwards. She'll be with us in just a moment. The Hawkeyes with a 14-3 lead over Iowa State here in the waning moments of the first half of this defensive battle. John Skladany talking to his defensive charges. So now the Hawkeyes obviously would love to get the first down and not have to punt. However, not likely at 3rd and 18.
Yeah, I don't see him throwing the ball either. You don't want an incomplete pass here and stopping the clock. So I'm sure this will definitely be some sort of run. They'll try to take as much time off the clock as possible here before they have to punt it away.
The Hawkeyes with a 13-game winning streak here at Kinnick Stadium. The Cyclones, the last road team to win here. Lewis moves the pile over the 25 and out to the 26-yard line. And Iowa will very slowly get up, go to the huddle, and try to use as much time as they can before they have to kick it away on 4th down.
That's a great point, too. You talk about how you get up slowly, waiting for the 25-second clock to start.
And actually, we're down to inside that, so they may not, and they will not have to snap it. It's used just enough time that they got inside the 25 seconds. And so the first half has come to an end, and it's been a defensive battle in Iowa City between the number 1 and the number 2 defenses in the country. And the Hawkeyes leave with a 14-3 lead. Now, you think that comeback by Iowa State 2 years ago will be on either coach's agenda to talk about at halftime?
I'm sure there's a chalkboard in the Iowa locker room right now that someone's writing 24/7 on if they haven't already. And I think these guys know that there's 30 more minutes, and Iowa State made a great representation for themselves in the first 30 minutes, and they'll give you another next 30.
Let's go to Janine Edwards.
I'm here with Kirk Ferentz. You said last week what you saw was a lack of concentration by your players. What are you seeing today?
I think we're a little better focused. We did have a couple penalties, major penalties. And our kickoff coverage obviously isn't very good. That's not helping us either.
Are your receivers showing you what you wanted to see?
Well, they're doing a good job, and we're going to need to. We're having a hard time running the football right now, so we're going to need to throw the football effectively to have a chance.
Thanks, Coach.
A pair of undefeated football teams meeting in the second game of the young season. Halftime before a sellout crowd. The big rivalry, the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. And at the break, the Iowa Hawkeyes lead the Iowa State Cyclones by a count of 14-3. 14 years, the team that has led at the half in this series has won the ball game. Right now, that favors the Hawkeyes. They lead Iowa State 14-3. The lone exception, of course, when Iowa State had the great comeback here 2 years ago and became the last road team to win at Kinnick Stadium. Since then, Iowa has reeled off 13 straight home field wins. Let's go to Janine with Dan McCarney.
Larry, I'm with Coach McCarney. You had said that the Iowa defense is one of the best you've seen in many years. What adjustments do you have to make?
Well, obviously, we got to try and continue to run the football. It's tough against that front seven, and we are protecting pretty good right now. We've got to give our quarterbacks a chance to make some plays, and our receivers to get downfield and make some plays. We're not in any panic. It's an 11-point game. We've got to come back here. I don't sense a physical mismatch here, but we've got to make more plays and hopefully get a couple more turnovers this half.
Okay, thanks. Good luck.
Well, Janine has heard the same story from both coaches, Marv. We've got to run the football better.
I thought that was a spot-on analysis by Coach McCarney. Obviously, he knows his team better than I do, but there hasn't been any physical mismatches so far today, and it's just been a great football game, and they do have to run the ball. I mean, you've got to try to, establish the run if you want to attack this Iowa defense, and it's been tough going so far.
And, of course, special teams have been such a factor in this game. In fact, 3 of the last 5 years, special team play has won the ball game, including last year.
Well, the one thing it does is it leads to field position. If you got a good punting game, you can back them up, or if you get good kick returns and you're starting on the 50 or 40, I mean, you completely change the dynamics of what an offense is trying to do to you. I really think the first series for both offenses in the second half is going to go a long way to determine who wins this game in the second.
Iowa took the football to start the ball game as they won the toss. Kirk Ferentz, not one of those guys who likes to defer. He says, quite jokingly, I'm sure he doesn't quite understand why people defer. He says he's not that smart, but he just likes the football first to be in the attack mode. So, therefore, Iowa State will have it to begin the second half of play.
The unique thing there is with your defense being your strength, you'd want to put them out there right away and put the hammer on somebody, but he does, get his offense out there and get their confidence up.
Slicker booms this kickoff through the end zone.
That's the best coverage you can have as a kickoff team, and I'm sure that was one of the things they talked about at halftime. Is Iowa's kickoff coverage has been very, very lacking today.
And Hobbs has had one very fine return, so obviously they don't want to see Thompson or Hobbs with the chance to return it. Therefore, the kick sails through the end zone, and Iowa State takes over at the 20-yard line. Brett Meyer and Austin Flynn have both seen action in the first half. That will be the plan in the second half. Brett Meyer from Atlantic, Iowa, whose parents you met at halftime, will lead the attack for Iowa State. Todd Blythe, the freshman from Indianola, in motion. Meyer fakes option and will throw on first down, completes it to Blythe. Blythe is upended at the 35-yard line by Javon Johnson.
Football player, Larry. I'm going to tell you what, Todd Blythe, that is as difficult as it gets because he knows he's going to get hit there. And watch the concentration of Blythe coming across here. This is just one of those things, someone's coming. Great throw by Meyer, but don't think Blythe doesn't know he's going to get hit right there. Great
6'5",
concentration.
210 pounds, highly recruited out of Indianola, was the 4A Player of the Year in the state of Iowa, and he made a very good play, especially for a freshman. Meyer firing deep, looking for Davis, and the pass is incomplete, covered by Antoine Allen. John Davis, the intended receiver, but Allen had him stride for stride.
Good coverage there. George Lewis, who we talked to the coaches, does a lot of pass defense as well. He was underneath it, so Myers had to put a little bit of an arc on it, throw it high, and good coverage between Lewis and Antoine Allen out there on the left side.
Meyer now 7 out of 13 passing the football for 85 yards. This is hauled down at the 38-yard line by Chad Greenway. Greenway just stayed right home, covered his spot on the field, and made, as he usually does, a pretty picturesque and fundamentally sound tackle.
Pretty balanced defense for the most part between Hodge, Lukey, Babineau, Greenway, all getting in on the action a little bit. Actually had a little bit of daylight there, and Greenway's able to step up and close it down.
Here's where Iowa defense has been outstanding on third down. The Cyclones yet to convert on third down. Meyer ducks under and is sacked by Babineau. Jonathan Babineau there to nail him at the 35-yard line. And the Cyclones forced to punt and have still not converted on third down.
You know, Jonathan Babineau gets credit for the sack, but Matt Roth actually does a nice job of pushing the pocket from the right side, forces Meyer to step up into Babineau's arms, and Babineau's able to get the sack.
Troy Blankenship out of Cedar Rapids Kennedy will punt. Deep for Iowa is Ed Hinkle. Hinkle will come up and take this one at the 32. Makes the reverse, keeps the football, and goes over the 40-yard line and out to about the 42. And it'll be good field position for the Iowa Hawkeyes following the 33-yard punt of Blankenship. So now Iowa will take over on offense for the first time in the second half.
Iowa State's defense answered the call there that first series, and now it's to see what the Iowa offense can do when they get their opportunity.
Iowa playing without Matt Malloy, their backup wide receiver, who caught 2 scores last week against Kent State. Out with a sprained knee, may miss a couple of weeks. Tate throws on first down to the sideline, and the pass is caught in stride. Caught by Warren Holloway, and the penalty marker's down on the tackle by DeAndre Jackson following the catch. And it may be a face mask, and the preliminary indication is a face mask violation.
How do you cover this, Larry? I mean, this is just a great throw.
Number 14 on the defense. 5 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
And Tate has now completed 9 of his last 10.
DeAndre Jackson's got him covered like a blanket. I mean, this is just a great throw by Tate, throwing it over the top again, and Holloway goes up, able to get it. That ball is in the only spot that Holloway can catch it, and DeAndre Jackson can't get his hands on it. That is a perfect throw by Drew Tate.
Second catch of the day for the senior from Homewood, Illinois, Warren Holloway. From the Cyclone 30 on first down, Mickens and Lewis line up in the eye behind Tate. Jermel Lewis gets hit by the safety Mosier as he hits the 30-yard line, is driven back after forward progress, got him to about the 29. Jackson there along with Mosier on the stop for the Cyclones.
I was throwing the ball a little bit down the field, and we talked about it earlier, has a tendency to maybe soften those safeties up. You might start seeing a little bit more running lanes for Jermel Lewis in the Iowa running game.
They give him forward progress to the 28-yard line. Jermel Lewis now 11 yards shy of 1,000 for his career. But he spent a lot of time behind Freddie Russell. This is his year to shine. He has shown so far today for Iowa. Lewis trying to pick his way inside the 25-yard line and down to the 23. Nice burst of second effort by Jermel Lewis. Paris makes the stop along with Mosier for Iowa State. DeAndre Jackson on the corner. Let's go to Janine and talk about DeAndre.
Yeah, Larry, DeAndre Jackson's been all over these guys with the coverage today. He's the cornerback for Iowa State, and it's interesting, he's playing with one kidney. He bruised a kidney in his first game, junior year of high school, had the kidney removed a year later, and he's been a star cornerback.
Third and short, Tate out of the shotgun. Runs out of the grasp of the first Cyclone defender and now is scrambling, and he will be polished off as he gets to the 22-yard line. Got back to the original line of scrimmage, and the Hawkeyes will face a fourth down. Run down by Nick Leaders, but nearly sacked by Tim Dobbins.
And Tate looks like he might be having the cramp issues that he had last week. You know, he's a young guy, and his emotions get going a lot of times, and you got to really be good about your prehydration techniques, and looks like he's got a little bit of cramp in his left calf there.
And meanwhile, Brent Curvey, a right tackle for the Cyclones on defense, is down. He's being attended to. So Tate is ailing, Curvey is ailing, and we'll take a timeout while everybody is attended to with 10:58 left to play in the third period of the big rivalry game in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes enjoy a 14-3 lead. Iowa City, where the backup quarterback for Iowa, Eric McCollum, now starts to warm up. Drew Tate helped off the field after this play. Brett Curvey also had to leave for Iowa State.
Tate just trying to make something happen for the offense. I'd like to see that ball tucked in a little bit, but he just covers it up, and I'm pretty sure it's just a situation of dehydration. Looks like he had some cramps in his calves.
Schlicker to attempt a 39-yard field goal. And the hold of Bradley. The low line drive kick is up. It's got the height, it's got the distance, it's good. A 39-yard field goal by Kyle Schlicker boosts Iowa's lead over Iowa State to 17-3.
Good opening drive for the Hawks there to start the second half, get points.
So Iowa State unable to move on their first drive after getting one first down. The Hawkeyes defense stiffened. They got good field position and drove down for the 39-yard Kyle Schlicker field goal.
Schlicker did a better job that time. I mean, as a kicker, the first thing you got to do is you got to get the ball up quickly. And I think Nate Kading, we've been spoiled at Iowa in the past. That I mean, when Nate kicked it, it exploded off his foot and got up quickly. And that's one thing that Schlicker's going to have to work on over his career, and I'm sure he'll develop. He's got a very strong leg, and when he gets in the habit of just making sure that he's getting it up over that line of scrimmage, he'll be a great kicker for the Hawks.
He was able to hit 2 last week in the ball game over Kent State. Hit them from 20 and 33 and missed from 44. Today an earlier miss, but that time a 39-yard field goal. And the Hawkeyes boost their lead to 14. For Iowa State, it will be Hobbs deep along with Thompson. This is Hobbs who has to retreat to make the catch, and Iowa State will start at the 20-yard line. Take a look at the Iowa scoring drive as they were able to go 5 plays, 37 yards in just over 2 minutes. And Kyle Schlicker with the third field goal of his Iowa career.
That great catch by Holloway made up about half of that, but good opening drive as we talked about for the Iowa offense, get their confidence in the second half.
Now we're Cyclones facing an Iowa defense that has yet to give up a touchdown this season, which is now 6+ quarters. So they're playing with great pride, great intensity. Ed Miles has come in at one of the linebacker spots for George Lewis. The pursuit is on for Brett Myers. He delivers. The pass to John Davis, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 23-yard line. And it was Ed Miles, along with Jovan Johnson, who shove him out.
Coaches talk about Ed Miles. I mean, he's definitely a guy that when he gets in the game, there's numbers going to be called. I mean, he makes plays. He made he partially blocked a punt last week with Chad Greenway, and he gets out there in that will linebacker position in space. He does a nice job of covering up the slot receivers.
Made the freshman All-America team last year for his play at Iowa. Meyer on the shotgun, fakes to Hicks, pitches instead to Thais Thompson, and he is nailed in the backfield. Ed Miles, the guy we were just talking about, makes a big defensive play.
And you can't play the option any better. That Iowa State had a slot receiver. Watch the slot receiver out here trying to block Miles, and was not able to get it done. Miles does a nice job of separating, getting off, and then coming up and making a great open field tackle. Putting your face mask right in the chest of the defender. That's about as good as it gets right there.
Keener is an inside linebacker, learning the outside linebacker position, and there are some adjustments to be made, and coaching staff is thrilled with the way Ed Miles has made him.
You know, the strength of this is he's kind of like a DB. He's a big, but he's a big, strong, physical guy, but yet he's got the skills that a cover guy's got, so it really gives Iowa some flexibility on defense to bring him in and still play base defense.
Cyclones looking for their first third down conversion today. Meyer steps up in the pocket, being pursued, being wrapped up. Antoine Allen was the first man to get him for the Hawkeyes. So Iowa State still unable to convert on third down. Right now, their running game averaging less than 2 yards a carry.
The impressive thing in the state of Iowa is pretty well covered at the corner position. The 2 corners at Iowa State and the 2 corners at Iowa will come up and definitely strike you. And that was a great play by Antoine Allen coming up and wrapping up Brett Myers before he gets the first down.
Troy Blankenship on to do the punting. Again, Tony Yelk, the regular punter and placement kicker for the Cyclones, continuing to hail with a hip flexor. Hinkle will let that one roll to the 38-yard line. And so once again, Iowa will have good field position. So So the Hawkeyes defense is really showing some muscle now, bottling up the Cyclones. Iowa with good field position and a 17-3 lead before the Hawkeye faithful in Iowa City. Back on offense as they left the field. Drew Tate had to be helped off. Janine, what's the story with Drew Tate?
Well, he definitely was suffering from symptoms of heat exhaustion. They sat him down. They gave him some energy drinks. They actually gave him some potassium supplements. And the trainers were massaging his legs, which were obviously cramping up. And this is the same type of symptoms that he exhibited last week. And Coach Farron said he's just a high-strung kind of guy. So hopefully it'll pass.
But he is back to run the Iowa offense on first down from the 38-yard line. Jermel Lewis tries to get to the outside, and the Cyclones prevent him from doing that as linebacker Eric Anderson leads the way along with Tim Tabrink. In the Big Ten, UCLA continues to have success at Champaign.
Coach Ron Turner trying to get that program back on track, struggling early. Wisconsin leading 11-0 at third quarter against UNLV. Brett Bielema and his defense sounds like they got two safeties so far up there at Wisconsin.
Iowa's next opponent, Arizona State, leading at Northwestern.
Michigan State back on track versus their in-state rival, Central Michigan. One of their in-state rivals, that is. They got another one
Got a
over
few,
there.
don't they? The handoff to Lewis. They had an opening over the middle, but it closed just as quickly because Brandon Brown stayed home, followed his assignment perfectly, and made the tackle.
This is a clinic in team defense, and I don't want to keep beating that over and over again, but it really is. Everybody has rush disciplines and rush lanes, and right now these guys are doing a good job of staying in their lanes, and when the play comes to you, you make the tackle.
It's the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy, the game they talk about in Iowa months before and months after. Iowa State and Iowa. Larry Morgan, Marv Cook, and Janine Edwards with you from Iowa City for this rivalry game. Before Tate can take the snap, a flag is thrown.
Before the snap, false start, 63 on the offense. 5 yards, third down.
Seems a shame that we usually only talk about offensive linemen when their number's called and we have to identify them. Todd Plagman, the former walk-on from Carson, Iowa, a town of about 668 near Council Bluffs, who is starting as a redshirt freshman, made the infraction, but he's done a good job during that starting role.
That's right. That started the safeties. The safeties had come down, and I think Tate was watching, trying to make an adjustment, and then Cadence just got a little bit off cue.
Tate throws long. The pass is too long, intended for Quentin Solomon. Covered on the play by Ellis Hobbs. They're two very talented football players right there. And Tate showed that he could throw on target at long range.
Two good athletes. I mean, the impressive thing, I thought Tate might have a little bit of trouble with mobility because of his cramps, but was able to get out of the pocket and make the throw downfield. My experience with dehydration is once you get it, it doesn't go away. I mean, you can drink water and Gatorade and all that stuff. It's just difficult.
Not getting any cooler out there, I know that. David Bradley in to do the kicking for the Hawkeyes. Todd Miller out of Urbandale, deep for Iowa State, veteran punt returner. With good pressure, the kick's away. Miller is nailed immediately. Downfield was Walner Bellius, and he may have hit him too soon. Didn't allow him enough room, it looked like.
Yeah, they like that halo rule where you give them about 2 yards, and Bellius is making an impact on special teams. Done a nice job on covering the guys on punt return, but yet, here he is the striker.
Number 10 on the kicking team. 15 yards from the spot, first down.
Bellius, the junior college transfer from Dodge City, Kansas Community College, guilty of the infraction.
This punt is almost blocked. I mean, Iowa State got very, very close to that, and Bradley was lucky to get that out. But, here you got Bellius just coming down trying to make a play. And it's one of those efforts, you're just playing hard, trying to get to the ball. And, sometimes as a coach, you live with those penalties.
Looked like Caleb Berg, number 21, nearly got to the ball, trying to block it. So here come the Cyclones as we take a look at penalties in the ball game, and a livable number for both squads. Brett Meyer remains the quarterback for Iowa State, although we do expect that Austin Flynn will get a series or two in this half as well as he did in the first half. That's the Dan McCarney plan. Tyce Thompson gets nothing. The running game still not there. Tyler Lukey, Submarines underneath to make the first hit.
I was Iowa State, I'd be going back to Blythe. Blythe's had a pretty good game so far. He's using his body, his 6'5" frame, and it looks like Myers has got a lot of confidence in him. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Iowa State go to run some hooks and some in routes to Blythe and use his 6'5" frame to try to pick up some first downs here for the Iowa State offense.
And again, the Iowa corners are 5'9" and 5'10" respectively, so he does have a height advantage. Blythe set on the left, the quarterback Brett Meyer. Meyer gets pressure from Derek Robinson, an incomplete pass. Underthrows, but with big Derek Robinson coming at him for the understandable. Davis, the intended receiver, covered by George Lewis. Well, today, the story for the Hawkeyes has been defense.
Team defense, too. I mean, Chad Greenway gets a lot of publicity, but we're talking about Robinson, Lukey, Antoine Allen, Ron Johnson, Derek Robinson again. I mean, it's just a team effort right now. They're just getting after Iowa State, putting Iowa State, trying to confuse Iowa State offense. And Iowa State's actually handled it pretty well for the most part. So a lot of game left.
Ken Iwabima has come in to play the right defensive end spot for the Hawkeyes. Matt Roth remains in the left defensive end spot. Meyer tucking it in. Meyer to the midfield stripe, but a penalty flag thrown in the backfield. Abdul Hodge on the tackle for the Hawkeyes.
A couple flags down, one after the run and one in the backfield. So we'll see which way they're going. Looks like both of them might be against Iowa State.
There's the indication of the hold against the Cyclones. So Iowa State really struggling against this relentless Iowa defense. And everybody, of course, knew that Iowa would have an outstanding defensive unit this year.
36 on the offense. That penalty is declined. Holding 72 on the offense. That penalty is accepted. 10 yards, previous spot. Repeat second down.
The left guard, Corey Pence, guilty of the hold. Now, people might wonder, why would you accept one hold and decline the other? It's because of the spot of the hold.
Right, 15 yards, you're going to get just one penalty instead of the two. But Meyer does a nice job. He actually looked like he had the first down picked up. This would have been their first third down conversion, but now they got third and looks like 22 and that is a very, very difficult situation. I'll take those statistical odds right there.
A holds on a play like that on the third down conversion effort will just drive a coaching staff nuts. So it's third down and 22 for Iowa State. They have not yet been successful on the third down conversion. A trip set of receivers, Davis, Blythe, and Miller to the right side. And the throw up the middle to Tice Thompson, and he is brought down by Chad Greenway at the 23-yard line.
One of the ways you stop a pass rush is to run screens, but Iowa's got a little bit of different technique than some programs. Some programs have a spy, a nose guard who sits in there and watches for the back. But Iowa plays the screens with a team concept, and there you see Chad Greenway in there looking for the ball, finding it. A couple other guys running the ball and just kind of making the reads and sniffing out that screen.
And for Greenway, the National Defensive Player of the Week last week, 8 tackles today. Blankenship on the punt. Hinkle signaled fair catch.
It bounced.
Then it bounced.
I think the official blew the whistle too early.
A 34-yard kick by Blankenship. And we've got a break of the action. Iowa on offense with 5:18 left in the third quarter, leading Iowa State 17-3. We'll be right back to Kinnick Stadium. It's the first-year quarterback coach at Iowa State who has had a battle with testicular cancer but has now been declared free of cancer. A courageous battle, and Tate gets nailed as he draws back to pass. He was blitzed by Ellis Hobbs. Hobbs had his number all the way.
There's that corner blitz. I mean, that's a corner blitz is what we've been talking about all day, and Iowa just hasn't had an answer as far as the run game goes, and they tried to run the boot back into it, and that's the result.
If you're Iowa State, you need something dramatic to happen to try to stem the momentum that the Hawkeyes have with the sound defense that they're playing, and they're hoping maybe that was it.
Well, that's the situation where if Iowa runs boot in the opposite direction and they run away from it, now they got a chance to make a big play, but they just actually had Iowa State had the right call on for that particular play.
It's 2nd and 21. Lewis looking for some daylight, trying to give him a block is 69, Pete McMahon. And he gets a little bit of yardage as he is ridden out of bounds on the far side. Jermel Lewis didn't play last week because of the one-game suspension, but he has stepped up and had a very nice 2004 debut.
Yeah, you know, the one thing that the 8 in the box, we talk about a lot, but the one thing when the strong safety comes down, all the linemen and all the fullback is pressing play side, and what it does is it leaves the guy on the backside unblocked, and Jermel Lewis doesn't have the cutback lane because that guy's unblocked. But, you know, I was trying to put a hat on everybody play side, and there's just really no place to run right now.
3rd and long for Iowa. Tate pursued and wrapped up by Tyson Smith. So the Hawkeyes, after taking the big loss, Marv, perhaps playing it close to the vest and just in this battle of field position, wanting to get rid of the ball and ask the defense to come on and do their thing one more time.
Wasn't a very good series. Wasn't a very good offensive series for the Hawks right there. You know, but that's, you know, hey, give people their due. And Iowa State had the right defenses called for those particular set Iowa offense brought to the table.
Bradley to punt. Todd Miller to return. Asmus is the long snapper. Miller from the 34. Slowed down by Abdul Hodge, and then a bunch of Hawkeyes finish him off. 38-yard kick by Bradley, 10-yard return by Miller.
Mike Klinkenberg came up with a helmet instead of the football.
Don't miss Big Ten college football from ESPN Plus next Saturday as Zach Mills and Penn State host the Black Knights of Central Florida. That's Central Florida versus Penn State next Saturday, September the 18th at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central from ESPN Plus. In the 3rd quarter, Iowa State has tried to rush the football 5 times for negative yards, and in fact, their last 9 rushing plays, no positive yards. Austin Flynn is now taken over at quarterback for Iowa State, and he's going to be drilled. Matt Roth finally finishes him off. Alex Wilcox slowed him down.
That's Austin Flynn's strength, though. He's an extremely good athlete, and you know he's like a 3rd running back there when he has the ball. He can throw it, and obviously, but he can run it there, and he picks up a nice 4 or 5 yard gain.
Flynn played briefly in the first half. He, again, the starter from last year, had a big game against the Hawkeyes, threw for 239 yards, but he threw it 44 times, completing 21 of them. On 2nd down, keeping the football is Flynn, and he is stopped by Greenway. Well, Iowa State still trying to get something going offensively against this Chad Greenway-led Hawkeye defense.
Actually, a nice combination set up on the right side. The tight end just slipped on his release, and James Wright wasn't able to get out in the route. Austin Flynn makes the right decision, just tucks it down and moves it forward.
So the Cyclones have not completed a 3rd down conversion yet, Janine.
You know, Chad Greenway was named the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week last week. He had 2 interceptions, returned 54 yards, had a touchdown, 10 tackles, a blocked punt. This guy is just his own defensive line. Interesting, in high school he played quarterback, free safety, and he lettered also in basketball, baseball, and track. Talk about an all-around athlete.
From a very small place, Mount Vernon, South Dakota.
Coach Ferentz said he went to a basketball practice, and they basically had all the grades in the gym practicing at the same time, and the interaction between the seniors and the junior high kids was pretty impressive.
So Iowa State, without a 3rd down conversion, had their best opportunity because it was 3rd and 1 and commits a costly infraction.
You know, Greenway's obviously one of the incredible football players. If I was going to pick a defensive team in college football, he would probably be my first guy on my list. But, I mean, I think the thing that also makes him so good is the guys around him. I mean, this truly is, you know, up front there are 6 and 7 guys that can play this game, and they play it very, very well. And it basically allows all of them to have opportunities to shine during the course of the game.
Family owns a hog farm. He says not unusual when he was growing up to get up at 5:30 in the morning and work outside till midnight. Flynn back on 3rd and 6. Eludes the grass cut Derek Robinson. Fires upfield, and the pass is caught at the 40-yard line. Short of a 1st and 10, Antoine Allen makes the tackle. And so Iowa State able able to move the sticks for the first time today on a third down conversion.
And that's Austin Flynn right there. I mean, Iowa had him in the grasp, and that's just Austin Flynn being an athlete and making a play, getting away from the rush and getting the ball out to Stevie Hicks for the first down.
So the ball to the 40-yard line, and the Cyclones able to keep a drive alive. First third down conversion of the day. Play action fake to Hicks. Then the bomb. And it is caught by Blythe. He's into the end zone for a Cyclone touchdown. He takes it away from an Iowa defender. Cyclone score.
Just went up and got it. We talked about it. Todd Blythe making a play. Got the Cyclones back in this one.
A 40-yard strike from Flynn to Blythe. And Iowa State now pulls to within 8.
Todd Blythe, this is set up right at the beginning. He beat the corner off the line of scrimmage on the play action, and Austin Flynn throws it up and let Todd Blythe go get it. Iowa corner actually does a nice job of coming back in and getting in the play, Javon Johnson, but Blythe is the guy that comes out and makes the play.
Jansen on the extra point attempt. It's good. We've got timeout. 36 seconds left to go in the third quarter. The Hawkeyes have given up their first touchdown defensively this year. Dan McCartney's team on a 40-yard strike from Flynn to Blythe has pulled right back in this one at 17-10. You mentioned Flynn, really an outstanding athlete, and Blythe just made a super grab.
Snap, hold, and kick. There's three components to that extra point, which is a big extra point because now it's a 7-point game versus an 8-point game. That's the greatest thing about college football right there, Larry. College band.
Well, there are a lot of great things about college football. I would agree with you. That's one of them. And they put in a lot of time and effort too, don't they?
That's right.
Interesting that a football player would actually realize the bands and their contributions.
My favorite part of the pregame warm-up was when the drum line come in, those snare drums banging away.
So we talked about Iowa State needing something dramatic to get momentum. And perhaps they're doing that right now, don't you think, Mark?
That's right. And, you know, I mean, the bottom line is we are one-possession game right now. Austin Flynn making plays for his offense. He did last year come in against Texas and rally them versus Texas with 3 touchdowns. You know, put them back in the game against the Texas Longhorns. So this is a capable guy. He's got a lot of great experience. And, you know, we talked about it earlier. Todd Blythe's a big guy. Go to your studs, you know, and that's what they did that drive.
Kickoff scooped up by the Hawkeyes. A return just 1 yard to the 22-yard line. Albert Young had been in there earlier on kick return duties, but he got banged up, sprained a knee, so Warren Holloway now back in his spot, and he was the man on the return that time. While Iowa State, with their first touchdown of the ball game, 4 plays, and the big one, a 40-yard Flynn to Blythe pass.
Austin Flynn made 2 great plays that drive. You know, this is where it's all about leadership. You know, we talked about how can the young quarterbacks play. Austin Flynn has represented himself well. So is Meyer, and Drew Tate's done well. But now it's Drew Tate's turn to see if he can answer that Iowa State score.
Ellis Hobbs is being attended to for the Cyclones, and they can ill afford to be without their honorable mention All Big 12 player of a year ago. Just a solid veteran who does so many things for that Cyclone club, and you certainly hope it is nothing serious. He's a guy who's worked very hard at getting where he is and has meant so much to Iowa State.
Iowa fans will remember a couple years ago, he's the guy that recovered the fumble that Khalil Hillam had on the muff punt that turned that game around.
It certainly did.
One of the captains on the defense for Iowa State.
And so he walks off the field very gingerly.
Coming in there, it's cornerback trying to strip the ball. That's a good play right there, and it's just a situation where the pile falls on, but it looks to me like it might be a dehydration issue as well. So.
Certainly hope that's all it will be from the 22-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Hawkeyes, whose lead has been shaved to 7. Lewis looking for daylight, none there. The Cyclones stack him up. Tim Dobbins, the middle linebacker who's played so well today for Iowa State with a big stick.
You know, it really, if you want to talk about good run-stopping defense, it does start right in the middle. Mike linebacker, and that guy fills that void for the Iowa State Cyclones.
Final seconds of the third quarter, counting down.
Iowa State defense rallying the Iowa State faithful that made the trip down here, and they're in that corner of the end zone.
Well, what a rivalry should be is a tight football game, not decided until late. It looks like that's the direction we're headed after 3 periods of play. The Cyclones scoring big after struggling for a while in offense, but it took just one throw for Todd Blythe to get to the end zone, and the Cyclones to get some momentum. The Hawkeyes cling to a 7-point lead. 10. Janine, what's the story on Ellis Hobbs?
Well, he just came back out on the field. I spoke to the trainer who said it was nothing serious. He just had a back spasm. He came over to the sideline, bent down, stretched his back out a little bit, and went right back out on the field.
Good news for the Cyclones. Ellis Hobbs, their veteran corner, able to play in a ball game that means so much to him. This is his last shot at the Hawkeyes. Seniors always feel that way. We take a look at the numbers through 3 quarters of play. Time of possession couldn't be any more even.
Definitely starting to balance out. Good offense might go right back at Hobbs here and see if he is healthy.
Tate gets pressured by Leaders and sacked by Leaders. Nick Leaders on the sack for Iowa State. The momentum has clearly shifted. You know, Mark, we've talked so much about the Iowa defense in this ball game, but Iowa State's defense limited Iowa to -10 rushing in the 3rd quarter.
Poor execution by Iowa here, though. It's a screen. You want to let them go, but you got to give them a little bit of time. You know, you got to let the quarterback get back, set the screen up, and then get it out. Leaders just great effort play there. Would not be denied.
10-yard loss on the sack. Lewis in the backfield. Holloway wide, left ankle wide right. Lewis trying to get around the linebacker and can't do it, and he's buried inside the 5-yard line. Iowa State now is coming after Iowa relentlessly. And a big play that time by Sean Moorhead, filling in for Cephas Johnson today.
Strong side. Chandler just releases outside, and here comes the inside protection, and Jamel Lewis has nowhere to go with it.
Again, Cephas Johnson, the starter at that end spot. We haven't seen him all day. We would anticipate an injury because Sean Moorhead has gone all the way, and he made a big play there, and now the Hawkeyes need a big play.
I mean, the thing here is the field position. Iowa State's going to get the ball probably inside Iowa's 40 when it's all said and done.
Hunting from the end zone, though, always tricky. Bradley set on the punt. Todd Miller set if there's a return. Miller will have a chance at a return. And he's buried after a return of about 5 yards, and the Cyclones have terrific field position. 34 yards from pay dirt with 13:21 left in the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes leading 17-10.
Take it back at this ball!
Ball games in this series. It's certainly one today. Austin Flynn, who directed the Cyclones to their first touchdown drive of the last series, will be in on this series, operating from the Iowa 34-yard line. Flynn completes to John Davis, skips out of bounds ahead of George Lewis at the 25-yard line.
Iowa State's getting a little swagger back.
Yes, they are.
Really, I mean, you talked about it. You can really sense the emotion going, and Iowa State's really starting to feel it, get their feet underneath them. That was just a little too easy. That was wide open out there for an 8-yard pickup.
The story on sophomore Austin Flynn, a starter 7 times last year for Iowa State. He and Brett Myers sharing the quarterback duties. Flynn very effective on the last drive, and of course with the hot hand, they want him in the ball game. 2nd and short for the Cyclones. The pitch, Stevie Hicks ducks his head, darts forward, and will be, looks like about a yard short of a 1st and 10. Greenway and Robinson bring him down for Iowa.
It's a big play right here for the Iowa defense. I mean, this is Iowa's strength, and they got a chance to really help the offense right here with a stop right here.
Same story for the Cyclones, who had not completed a 3rd down conversion until the previous drive, and then they scored the next play. So now they're only a little over a yard away from another conversion on 3rd down, as they're playing with some great confidence and momentum. Play action fake to the fullback. The quarterback, Flynn, will keep and will be buried. So it becomes 4th down for Iowa State, and if they choose the field goal route, will have to rely on that walk-on true freshman kicker, Ryan Jansen.
I bet Coach Mack's going to go for this one. He's got his confidence, his offense is getting some confidence, and I think he's going to go with them and give them an opportunity to go try to win this football game.
4th down, a yard to go. You're right. So this becomes one of the biggest plays so far in the afternoon.
Iowa State 1 for 1 on 4th down conversions today, I believe.
Flynn hands to Johnson, but first, a Hawkeye encroached the neutral zone, and if he was not drawn off, then Iowa State will have the 1st down via penalty. Let's see who it was against.
Full snap, contact by the defense. Offside, 5-yard penalty. Penalty yardage is good for a 1st down.
So the Cyclones get the 1st down via the penalty.
No snap, no, that's the old hard count. Guarantee the quarterback's gonna go, hut. Giving him all kinds of business, and it's, the guy right over the center. I mean, all you got to do is watch the football, and takes off too early and gives Iowa State 1st down.
So the Cyclones with a new series in the red zone now, 19 yards away from potentially tying with an extra point or leading with a 2-point conversion. Davis goes in motion on 1st down. Babineau pursues Flynn. Flynn gets away from him and drives forward to the 15.
Babineau's starting to assert himself a little bit. Came free there. A little bit of Jersey trailing him as he went by the offensive lineman, but no call. But good hustle all around.
And so a gain on the play of 3 yards, bringing up 2nd and 7. Iowa State, the last road team to win in Kinnick Stadium. Since then, Iowa has won 13 consecutive home games, a record here at Kinnick Stadium. Flynn getting backside pressure from Roth, throws to the end zone, incomplete, trying to hit John Davis. Covered by Antoine Allen and Marcus Pascal.
The other thing it's made, 20 of their last 22 wins at Kinnick. It's a pretty impressive homestand for the Hawks.
It is, and of course Dan McCarney's Cyclones pulling off the win 2 years ago here after trailing 24-7 at the half. They were down 7-3 at the half of this ball game, trailed 17-3 prior to scoring the long touchdown. And now they face a 3rd and 7 call. Davis will come wide left. Miller and Moses will go wide right. Hicks the lone setback.
Look for Blythe here in the slot, or Greenway on defense. These 2 guys have been stepping up all day.
Flynn to the the 15 to the 14-yard line. Derek Robinson on the tackle for Iowa.
Quarterback draw. Good call, actually, in the red zone down there on 3rd and 7.
And so now it brings another 4th down call for the Cyclones.
They're setting up looks to what appears to be a field goal.
And again, this will be the 1st-year freshman walk-on from Overland Park, Kansas, Brian Jansen. Jansen, 1 out of 3 with field goals today. This will be a 31-yard attempt. Chris Love to hold. Line drive kick is end over end. No good. No good to the left. So the field goal misses. The Hawkeyes take over on downs with 9:47 to play, leading Iowa State by 7. The occasion defensively in the second half, Iowa with a -2 total offensive yards.
That does have me speechless, Larry. Iowa State really has turned a corner, and Coach Mack, we know he makes great adjustments at halftime, and that's just a perfect example. They've come out, they've picked the intensity level up, and Iowa's offense has got a chance now to really show what they've got and go right at the heart of Iowa State, and that's their defense. And it's going to become a battle of wills right here, right
now. The Cyclones missing 3 field goals. Drew Tate takes over at quarterback, remains at quarterback. Mickens is his fullback. Play action fake to Lewis. Tate throws the pass complete to Hinkle. He secures it at the 35 and is ridden out of bounds by DeAndre Jackson at the 39-yard line. So Iowa now has some room to operate, something they have not had of late.
That's a perfect play right there. Play action pass, safety sucked down. You get the out route in behind the corners in the underneath coverage.
4 catches, 61 yards for Ed Hinkle, including a diving catch of a touchdown. Solomon wide to the right side, Hinkle wide to the left. Lewis the lone setback in a double tight end set of Chandler and Follett. Lewis trying to get a block, trying to make something happen, and gets a couple of yards on the play.
There it is. Moser steps down on the play side, and Iowa's blocking everybody's strong side to the run side. And the eighth guy in the box coming down the backside as the back looks to cut backside. There he is, sitting there unblocked, and Iowa's not able to get any good positive yards out of it.
So the Hawkeyes now face a 2nd and 8 call. Iowa led 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. And 17-3 at the half, rather 14-3 at the half. Hand off Lewis, hit by Hobbs, and gets very little yardage. Maybe a yard on the play, no more. Tim Dobbins also there for Iowa State. Let's take a look at some other action of the early starting games, and it looks like UCLA on their way to a victory over Illinois. A little early to say that yet, but the Bruins have been playing well in Champaign today.
UNLV are still losing by 14 to Wisconsin up there in Wisconsin, 17-3. Iowa's got one of their offensive linemen down here. Looks like they're looking at his right ankle.
And again, the Hawkeyes at that position not very deep, so that's a place they can ill afford to have somebody hurt. But somebody is hurt right now. He's being attended to, so we'll take a break. We've got a timeout with 8:41 left in Iowa City. The injured Hawkeye helped off. Iowa leading Iowa State 17-10. Ben Gates now moves into the left guard spot in place of Plagman, who comes to the sideline to be attended to. Iowa facing a 3rd and 6 at the 41-yard line. Tate all the way at quarterback today. Looks right, throws right. Caught by Clinton Solomon in Iowa State territory. And the Hawkeyes have a first down. DeAndre Jackson on the tackle.
Iowa actually made a great adjustment there. They come out a little bit more of a spread offense. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Kind of bases the defense up. Tate does a nice job of just stepping into his throw, and Clinton Solomon runs a quick slant. Big first down for Iowa.
Tate now 14 of 19 for 210 yards and a touchdown and 1 interception today. So the Hawkeyes with a new series in Cyclone territory. Not only do they want to score, Marv, they'd love to chew up some clock in the process. Lewis gets around containment and gets knocked out of bounds at the 42-yard line following a gain on the play of about 5 yards. Tim Dobbins comes up the middle linebacker to hit it.
Another good changeup, actually. That trips left, 2 tight ends on the left side. You think you're normally going to run your power, but actually come back weak side. Looks like Iowa State might be adjusting by bringing a strong safety down to the Iowa tight end, the Iowa strength in the running formation, and Iowa backside with that one picked up some good yardage.
Just under 8 minutes left in the Cy-Hawk Trophy game. Jermel Lewis a yard away from being a 1,000-yard rusher in his Hawkeye career. Lines up at tailback. Aaron Mickens remains the fullback. Mosier comes up on the line of scrimmage defensively for Iowa State as Jermel Lewis goes over the 1,000-yard barrier on that carry in his Hawkeye career. Plows down to the Cyclone 34-yard line.
Ben Gates just came in on the left side. They're going behind Lee Gray and Ben Gates and Jermel Lewis. You know, the one thing I'd like to see is just get your head in there and just pound it in there behind those big guys and let their weight and your leg drive push it forward.
Of course, Lee Gray, number 70, the guy filling the shoes of Robert Gallery, a big 6'6", 310-pounder out of Dallas.
Jermel Lewis just came out. Marcus Simmons going to get his first snap of the day.
Simmons again suspended for the opener out of Davenport North, transferred from Nebraska. He is now in for the Hawkeyes at tailback. From the 35, Tate goes long. Looking for Solomon, incomplete in the end zone. Solomon, the intended receiver, covered by Ellis Hobbs.
Ellis Hobbs just answered my question. He's back in there.
He's
ready
back.
to go. He is a playmaker. I'll tell you what, I really like him as a cornerback.
I do too. He's tough and he seems to be heady. He doesn't make many mistakes back there.
Looked like I actually had a chance over the top there, and then Hobbs just did a good job of closing. Watch Hobbs come and close on this. A little bit of incidental contact, but you know the ball's thrown on the inside. Probably a good no call.
They hear the crowd reacting. They wanted a call, but no call made. And as you say, Mark, probably none needed to be. So it's now a 2nd and 10 at the 35-yard line. This will be the first carry for Marcus Simmons, and he drives forward to the 35-yard line. Got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a half yard more, but not much more than that because Eric Anderson was there to stand him up and stop him. The senior Cyclone linebacker from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, one of the captains on this Iowa State team. Let's go downstairs to Janine.
Well, Larry, you were talking about Lee Gray having such big shoes to fill, taking over for Robert Gallery, drafted in the first round this year by the Oakland Raiders. But, you know, Lee's got some pretty big feet, so he may be able to fill those shoes. He wears a size 14 wide, and he had a 37-inch waist when he was in grade school. He was raised by his grandma. She said she always knew he would grow up to be something special.
He has that. Hawkeyes on 5 of 13 on the third down conversions. Have one here. Mickens, the fullback, out of the backfield to make the grab and rambles down to the 32-yard line. Dobbins runs him down, and the Hawkeyes face fourth down. No, we're talking about Lee Gray, excuse me. I know you like his footwork a lot, Mark.
I really do. You know, those 14 Ds or whatever they are, I mean, he does have a nice smoothness to him when he's in the pass protection. He doesn't get too anxious. He just kicks his feet back, gets into position, lets the rusher come to him, and he's so big and strong that he just kind of swallows him up when he does get into him.
Bradley, who has pinned the Cyclones inside the 10-yard line one time today with a punt, will be trying to do that here. Miller is the deep man for Iowa State.
Just let the clock run out here, give Bradley more room for the pooch kick. Looks like that's what they're going to do.
And so they'll want the 5 yards, making it a little easier to angle.
49-yard field goal. It is back into the wind. And, I mean, when you got a defense like Iowa, you know, if you want to win the game, he's going to put the game in their hands right now with 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go.
Well, the Iowa defense has been strong today, but that was expected. The Cyclone defense would shut out Northern Iowa, proving their defense is for real today because they have also answered.
Larry, I was just saying that 90 seconds ago. You know, I had some questions when I first came in, and these guys have answered every single question I've had as far as how good are they on defense, because they are the real deal.
Bradley gets it away. And the fair catch is called for by Miller at the 10-yard line. So Iowa State with 90 yards to travel and 5.5 to do it in, as they will try to get in a position to either tie the ball game or win it, but they get a long way to go here in Iowa City. Iowa State needs 90 yards to get in a position to tie or win the ball game. Austin Flynn is back to quarterback. They start from their own 10. Flynn on play action, forced out of the pocket by Lubke, delivers up the middle. And the pass is incomplete at the midfield stripe, intended for John Davis. Lubke, good pressure on Flynn in the backfield.
That's where it all starts for Iowa. If they get pressure on the quarterback. Antoine Allen, Sean Considine had great coverage back there on Blythe and Davis.
Austin Flynn in a relief role. You see his numbers, but 40 yards of that was a touchdown strike to Blythe.
He's a playmaker, though. You know, he makes plays when he gets his opportunity. A lot like Seneca Walsh was in that regard.
Blythe and Davis are both set to the left, and it's Miller to the right. Hicks in the backfield. Flynn throws off the fingertips of the intended receiver, the tight end.
Red Fox, that's James
Wright.
Yeah. Red Fox look-alike, they say, I think. But
have to see him a little closer than here to make that determination moment.
That's that stick route, that 6-yard out route, and Flynn just got a little bit on the back shoulder. Tight end's got to try to adjust to that.
Big third down call for the Iowa State Cyclones. Janine, what you got?
Well, we saw number 63, Todd Blackman, Iowa, limp off the field. He's got an ankle sprain. It was wrapped. They took his shoe off. They rewrapped it. He will be going it back out on the field.
Big third down call for Iowa State. Flynn throws in a crowd, and it's grabbed at the 20-yard line by Todd Blythe.
That's concentration right there. There was Iowa guys diving all over that ball.
It's a big-time receiver for a redshirt freshman.
Go back to the guys that are making plays, you know. Go to who's hot.
Well, they had to get it to the 20-yard line. That's where the stick was. That's where they got it. So the Cyclones keep the drive alive.
You know the impressive thing there, most young receivers, if it's 3rd and 8, they end up running a 7-yard route, or 3rd and 10, they run a 9-yard route. Blythe was able to get up, get the full 10, get the first down.
Very good play for Todd Blythe and the Cyclones. A new series, a play-action fake. Flynn in trouble, but has some protection, gets a block, and is able to get up to about the 23-yard line before he's polished off. Protection broke down, but he stepped getting blockers after there were a lot of black shirts in the backfield. Finally was able to make a little bit out of nothing. Abdul Hodge on the key stop for Iowa.
You want to play quarterback in the Big 10 or Big 12, watch the end of this play as far as Austin Flynn. He's just trying to make a play for his team here. But watch the end of this as he comes up here, eludes a lot of tackles. Watch this hit right at the end of this play. Boom. Well, we weren't able to see it, but Tyler Lukey came in there and put the leather on him.
Now Brett Meyer has replaced Austin Flynn after that hit. Meyer in at quarterback now. Play action fake. Over the middle, incomplete. Looking for Todd Blythe, who was covered by Marcus Pascal.
Brett Meyer's done a great job today, but that wasn't one of his better throws. He had the post route down the middle, and he just threw it way behind the receiver heading down the middle of the field.
Not easy to come in the middle of a drive, though, in the middle of, and then just have to throw right away.
Very, very difficult. Abdul Hodge. Third down play, looking to add to that 11 tackle total for the day.
Meyer, 9 out of 17, 85 yards through the air, works out of the shotgun on a key third down and long call. Pressure from Robinson. Forced out of the pocket. Chased by Hodge, knocked out of bounds by Allen. Good scramble, though, by Brett Meyer after he was forced out of the pocket by Robinson.
Great presence, I'm telling you. You're in the pocket, you got hands coming across your face, your jersey, and they're big hands when they're coming through there. And great presence by Meyer to get out there and get positive yards.
And it brings up a hunting situation at fourth down and what would be a long two for Iowa State. They figured they've got their timeouts. Their defense is playing well. They weren't in fourth down territory yet. They figured they'll get their hands on the ball. Troy Blankenship will punt. Low snap from center, but he handles it well. Hinkle with a fair catch at the 33-yard line. So we're down to 3:58. Iowa clinging to a 17-10 lead. The Hawkeyes go back on offense in this bruising defensive struggle.
Down to this, Iowa got a great chance to grow up. You know, this is one of those series that kind of defines how the season's going to turn out. And Iowa's young offense has got a chance to really show what they're made of going against this fine Iowa State defense here.
Iowa State with a shutout last week and a very solid defensive effort today.
3 or 4 first downs here by the Iowa offense would put this game away.
Both teams have their full complement of 3 timeouts remaining. Mickens and Lewis lining up behind Tate. Solomon wide to the left side. Jermel Lewis sees daylight. Scrambles across the 40-yard line and out to the 44. Jermel Lewis with a 14-yard gain before he is stopped by Steve Paris.
Impressive thing, Curvey was actually running back into the ball there as well. The big nose tackle inside. Chasing the ball, following it down.
Curvey shaken up earlier, but he has returned.
Mel Lewis does a nice job just making the cutback there and then getting it inside. You know, I mean, we've been talking about that backside guy unblocked, and Jamel Lewis, the smartest thing he can do is just get it going north and south. He's able to do it right there at the end of the run.
3.5 minutes to go in the ball game. Hawkeyes with the ball in a 7-point lead. Again, it is Lewis. This time bumped at the line of scrimmage by Brandon Brown and polished off by Tim Tobrink. Iowa obviously wanting to keep the ball on the ground to keep the clock moving. By the time this play is run, less than 3 minutes will remain in the ball game.
Yeah, the one thing Drew Tate does bring to the table is he's played a lot of games. He started 4 years in high school. He will work this play clock down to about 5 or 3 seconds every time they snap the ball here in this drive.
So Iowa faces a 2nd and 8 call. The 46-yard line. Chandler comes in motion. Meyer wants to put it in the air and does to Solomon at the 50 to the 48-yard line of Iowa State. Eric Anderson wraps him up.
Little things, but watch Clinton Solomon here if we get a replay that, you know, just catches the ball with their hand. A lot of young receivers want to catch that ball with their body, but the good ones will just throw their fingers out there and have the confidence in it and they'll get it.
Hawkeyes facing a 3rd and short situation. You see the conversion rate on 3rd down. That just shows you how well the defenses have played today, that both teams have struggled converting 3rd downs. But Iowa faces a big 3rd down play here. 3rd and 1 as they try to keep a time-consuming drive alive. Lewis on the carry, bumped in the backfield, but slides away from the first tackler, does not pick up the 1st and 10. Steve Paris stops him.
Free safety coming up there. Jamel Lewis does a good job of finishing the first, or breaking the first tackle, but Paris is able to finish it off.
So the Cyclones have called a timeout, forcing Iowa into an apparent punt situation with 1:45 left. This is the way a rivalry game should be, Mark. Not decided until the final seconds.
You know, I was joking around about the opener tackling you or something. You know, let's get it on, and it's been a great defensive battle.
Well, there's certainly a lot of spirit for college football and for the university here in Iowa City. Everybody knows that, and especially what they've got going on now. Herky's on parade.
75 of them. I tell you what, my kids absolutely love these guys. They've got Santa Herky, Shiny Herky, Referee Herky, and my personal favorite is Hayden Herky.
I saw a young family earlier yesterday just kind of going around, and the young kids really enjoying those. Bradley 6 punts today. 3 have been inside the 20 and 2 inside the 10. So David Bradley has really done a nice job as a punter, and once again he's called on to make a key play. A minute 45 left. Again, the Cyclones burning a timeout, so they have 2 remaining. The Hawkeyes have all of theirs. One of these teams will be 2-0 to start the season and have some great momentum. Iowa State back home next week against Northern Illinois. You talk about a tough start to your schedule. They've played 3 teams to open the season who all won 10 last year.
I think they have actually the 3rd hardest schedule in college football this season.
Yes, they do. They got Northern Illinois next week in Ames. Bradley awaits the snap. Gets the kick away. May have been partially touched. I think it was, don't you?
Looked like it, yeah.
Iowa State put on great pressure, and the ball angled out near the 30-yard line.
Nick Moser was around Bradley's leg at the point of contact. Looked like he might have got a hand on it.
The ball placed at the 32-yard line. Let's get another look.
Check the right side here. That's where it looked like the pressure came from. Looks like he just hit it off the side of his foot.
So here comes Iowa State with 1:40 to play, and again they have 2 timeouts remaining. Brett Meyer, the quarterback. The redshirt freshman sets up, delivers, and completes, making the catch and then stepping out of bounds, Terrence Highsmith.
Good clock management. Take the 8-yard out route, stop the clock, pick up positive yards.
Well, and again, a field goal will not do it for Iowa State. They've got to get 6.
You know, the thing about Iowa defense, I don't think you see much of a change. They play base defense. You know, they're going to play off and let them throw underneath, come up and make the tackle.
Meyer steps up. Meyer scrambles. And is hit hard by Abdul Hodge, and flags fly on what may have been a late hit by Abdul Hodge.
On the defense, late hit out of bounds, 15 yards, first down.
Huge 15-yard penalty against Abdul Hodge and the Hawkeyes.
Brett Meyer did a nice job of tiptoeing down the sideline there at the end. He goes for the extra few yards, and there comes Hodge with the left shoulder.
So now Iowa State moves into Iowa territory, 41 yards from pay dirt, 1:29 to play. Brian Luter up over the ball at center for Iowa State. Will snap it back to Meyer out of the shotgun. Pressure from the corners. The pass is thrown to the 33-yard line, and it's ruled incomplete. That time the back judge came from his spot on the field way back there to say not complete.
I'd imagine Austin Flynn got dinged on that play we talked about there at the end, because I mean he had the hot hand, looks like, and now Iowa State's staying with Brett Meyer. He's doing a good job of moving his team down the field here, but I'm sure they would be more comfortable having Austin Flynn in there with the experience he had last year.
Cyclones now face a 2nd and 10. Clock at a minute 22. Meyer incomplete. It was tipped by Greenway. It was intended for Highsmith.
That's film study right there. We talk about Greenway being in the right place at the right time. That's just something he saw in the films. And when he saw that quarterback go that 3-step drop, he just shot out to the flat route and with his right hand up knocked that slant route down.
Meyer 10 of 20 passing the ball today for 92 yards. The 12th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes trying to hold on against an Iowa State team that tries to go to 2-0. Meyer to the sideline to Davis. Davis knocked out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Greenway over protecting for Iowa. So the Cyclones will now face a 4th down call.
Pretty good poise by Brett Meyer. You got 3rd and 10. He just takes and gets 6 yards out of that play. Kind of take what the defense gives you and puts himself in a manageable 4th and 4 situation.
Well, this is the ball game for Iowa State. They don't get a first down. It is over, most likely. So this becomes the play of the game for the Cyclones. Meyer will try to run for it, and he's going to be wrapped up by Hodge. Hodge got him, and Lubke got him, shy of the first down marker.
Pretty fitting right there. Abdul Hodge, that's probably his 12th, 13th, 14th tackle of the day. That front 7, that front 5, 6, 7 guys have been the key for the Iowa defense, and pretty fitting they had a team defensive stop right there.
Moments after Abdul Hodge makes a big mistake, he makes a big play.
Meyer does a nice job of tucking it down, trying to get something out of it. There's Babineau flashing across, Hodge and Lubke. 3 names we called quite a bit today, stepping up and helping their team to the 2nd victory of the season.
So 1:09 to play. Now again, the Cyclones have 2 timeouts. They will try to get the ball back one more time, but time certainly works against them. Lewis to the outside, where he is brought down after a short gain, tackled by Tim Dobbins. And you talked about double-figure tackles for Abdul Hodge. But Dobbins is in that range as well.
A lot of high school coaches across the state will be getting these game films, and you'll see a lot of these schemes being incorporated into the high school game over the next 2 or 3 years. And I think across the state, we're blessed to have these 2 programs in this, as well as UNI. It's good football in the state of Iowa, and I really think you'll see a lot of Iowa State and Iowa influences over the high school programs in the next few years.
And for Iowa State, they have to wonder, what if? What if their regular field goal kicker, Tony Yelk, had been available today? Instead, they have to go with a true freshman, Brian Jansen, and he's misfired on 3 of them today.
That's, I'm good at math, and I didn't realize that 3 + 3 + 3 = 9, and that would have been enough to be the difference.
Awful lot of pressure to put on the shoulders of a young guy who really didn't kick till his senior year in high school and just wanted to find another way to help his football team more.
Good athlete out of high school, you're right. Coached by Nick Lowry, a great Chiefs kicker, and I'm sure he's a tough kid mentally. He'll go regroup, and Coach Mack will use this as a learning experience for him, and he'll get better because of it.
Tony Yelk, the veteran, out with the hip flexor. Lewis tries to get to the outside, and does. To midfield, to the 40 of Iowa State. And down at the 34-yard line of Iowa State. Jermel Lewis. In a game where we talked so much about defense, Lewis has put together a very nice ball game.
Stevie Hicks, Jermel Lewis, those guys, they carried the mail today, and they delivered. They ran hard all day long. I'll tell you what, Iowa fans, the greatest thing Jermel Lewis did there, he had a chance to maybe get forced to the sideline, but he gets back inside and keeps the clock running and forces Iowa State to call a timeout. And I know the chains would have stopped the clock, but the clock would have continued rolling. Jermel Lewis stays in bounds, forces Iowa State to call a timeout, and leaves them with 1 left.
30 carries, 101 yards for Jermel Lewis in his 2004 debut.
He had 29 for about 54 before that, so it's been a long, tough road for Jermel Lewis today, and Iowa State's made him earn every single one of those yards.
And he's had to carry a lot of times, as you see, his average 3.4. Iowa State's been tough against the run today. So Iowa, with 54 seconds to play and a first down, about to hold on and win their second straight in the Cy-Hawks series after the Cyclones had a 5-game winning streak interrupted last year in Ames. I don't know that anybody thought this would be as bruising a defensive ball game as it's been.
You know, I walked out of the meeting with Coach Ferentz the other day, and I could sense that he knew that they were in for a tussle, and it would be a great competitive game, and it's turned out to be everything of that today. And Iowa just got to take the snap here and make sure they don't have any fumbles, and they can run the clock out.
Tate all the way at quarterback today, and now that's the tight cover-up formation. The coach's favorite play when you can take a snap and take a knee, isn't it, Marv?
Some of those, they call that victory formation. That's the last play you practice on Friday of your walkthrough before any game is usually that play right there.
Ken O'Keefe still directing the Iowa offensive attack as the Hawkeyes have a snap left in this ball game. Iowa will go to 2-0. Iowa State will go to 1-1. Tough loss for the Cyclones. They played hard today, never led in the ball game, and again 3 missed field goals by Iowa State, the difference.
You know, the one thing, Coach Mack won't take any moral victories either. I mean, he's going to, you know, this is going to hurt, but he's going to have these guys ready to go next week. And, you know, you will get great effort out of this football program over the next 9 weeks, I can guarantee you that.
And so 2 longtime friends greet each other after serving on the Hayden Fry staff together from 81 to throughout most of the 80s. And they congratulate each other on a hard-fought ball game and the kind of a game you expect in a rivalry. Hard-fought, not decided to the final minute. That's what we had today. And the Iowa Hawkeyes come up with a 17-10 win.
Yeah, as an offensive guy, you know, my background's offense. You know, it's kind of a boring game for me to watch, but yet as a defensive person, feeling those hits, watching them teams get after it, great game for the state of Iowa.
I thought it was thrilling. It was indeed. The Hawkeyes beat the Cyclones 17-10, and we'll be right back.